What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 65, the year-end special. Woo! Yay! I am your very insane host, Tony Polanco. I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Pop that collar, baby.
Bam! Chris Seeley.
It's 2015. It's almost over.
Brian Manjoma.
Next year will be great because the division. That's it.
And of
You
course,
think
Mr.
next year will be great because greatness awaits?
Yes, greatness.
Finally, greatness will be here.
After how long? Really?
And last but not least, Mr. Brett Murdoch.
I'm sensing no correlative theme in these intros, so hello, everybody.
Yeah, there is none. It's just random madness. All right, so let us a couple of things. Okay, so I need to vent. Okay, so we
Man, what you got? What you got?
All right, like, it took us like literally 3 seconds to get to this point.
Yeah, this is the Throwdown. This is what we do around here. Okay, so at the time of this recording, you guys are seeing this on Thursday night. We're recording this on Tuesday night. So we posted our Game of the Year nominees, right? Coalition. And the comment section made me want to blow my fucking top. Like, I didn't say anything in the actual comment section, but I gotta say something. Do you guys not understand basic English? How many different variations of we pick these ourselves? This is a committee pick. These are what we voted on. Do we have to say until you finally understand? People are mad at us. Why did you pick that? Why did you pick that? Why didn't you pick this? Because these are games we played on the Coalition, and we're not going to pick something nobody played, right? And we're not going to pick a game that one person picked and nobody else picked. We're not going to do that. It has to be a vote by committee. If this game gets a certain amount of votes, it gets on the list. If it doesn't meet a certain amount of votes, it doesn't get on the list. Pretty simple stuff. I don't know why you guys didn't understand this basic premise. So a lot of dumbness going on in the comment section. Like, come on, guys. But I am happy to report that we got a lot of comments without a certain other person being involved, which proves my point that he is not needed to get these comments popping. So in that end, I was happy, but at the same time, it's like, come on, guys, you don't understand some of this shit, really? It's a coalition vote, man. And I'm sorry if I have to yell at you, but it's like, come on, I wanted to slap the shit out of some of you guys. I love you all, but god damn it. And I vouch for that list, by the way. I vouch for everything on it. I think we picked a damn good list. Damn good list. Better than that bullshit Game Awards, that Jeff Keighley did. Better than that. At least we don't have the esports bullshit or fucking trending gamer. We don't have none of that crap. We have real games for you guys,
Yes, but you also don't we also don't hand out real rewards.
No, we don't. Yeah, because we're not, they're not paying us to give them awards. Oh man, I had to get that off my chest real quick. Couple other things. Oh yeah. Shout out to Goridi. Okay, you guys know what the long game is, right? Or the long con?
Mm-hmm.
He played a long troll on me.
Okay.
I've been saying this man's name fucked up for months. I've been saying Garrido. Saying it fucked up. He didn't correct me. He goes, I wanted to see how long you could keep it up. That's epic level trolling, my friend. My hat off to you.
You get the Epic Trolling Award.
That was amazing. He didn't correct me because he's like, I want to see how long he keeps this shit going. And I'm a writer. That was bad on my part. I didn't even bother reading this man. Garrido. Yeah, Garrido. Makes sense to me. No, it's Goriti.
Starts with a G.
Yeah. I saw the Ori. I'm like, oh, Ito, right? All right, so, yeah. Shout out to you, my friend, for the long troll. That's epic level shit.
You get one of those.
Yes. All right, now without further ado, since this is our year-end special, we're going to talk about the 3 biggest topics of the year.
Or at least chosen by Tony.
Yes.
Oh, nothing.
Wow.
Now, obviously, the biggest story, and it just got updated today, too, man. Crazy shit. What happened with Hideo Kojima and Konami. If you guys don't know, you've been living under a rock. So basically, Hideo and Kojima were on the outs. He's been making...
Hideo and Kojima?
Yeah, Hideo and Kojima are on the outs. And Hideo and Konami are on the outs. Because of some bullshit. We actually kind of know what happened. We can't say it publicly. But yeah, some bullshit happened behind the scenes. They had a split. Nobody saw it coming. Even though if you look back, you kind of did see it coming because Hideo was never really happy with Konami's like leash. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
yeah, he's said plenty of times, like, if you really want me to make games, tell these guys you want me to make games other than Metal Gear games.
yeah, you know, and things just came to a head and stuff, and you know they took his name off all the game, you know, all the box and stuff, which is weird because there was always a Hideo Kojima game, right? Took all that shit off. They closed down the
It wasn't always you know, back in the day in Nintendo day, it did not,
in the last what, like since Metal Gear Solid 4 it's been like that.
2.
Two, okay, so it's
I think
been
it's on 2.
Yeah, but the point is, they took his name off like unceremoniously. You know, they closed down the studio, Kojima Productions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they restaffed everyone, and then obviously we heard about Konami's working conditions, where it's just fucking horrible. You know,
Well, yeah, that is something that kind of happens at a lot of Japanese companies where they reorganize. You know, they put, you know, if you're not needed anymore, they don't really get rid of you. They just kind of put you somewhere else, or in a lot of cases they kind of put you in a place where you don't want to be.
yeah,
Like we've always talked about the window seat. That's what happens to like the big guys, like, you know, the guy who created Castlevania. Essentially, what happened to him is they gave him the window seat. They weren't about to go fire him, but they were going to make him feel as miserable as possible.
Yeah, Igarashi,
Igarashi.
Gunpei Yokoi got the window seat after Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Japan does that type of shit, but you know, obviously people are mad because you know the first thing was like, wait, how is this gonna affect Metal Gear, right? And they said it right away, like this is not gonna affect Metal Gear, right? The game's gonna still come out, he's still gonna support it, whatever. Thing everybody was concerned about immediately was like, oh, what's going to happen to Silent Hills? Because obviously, you know, we had the PT demo, which some people said that was the best game of the year when it came out. Like this thing had a big
Nobody
impact.
cares about the PT demo. Stop overhyping
What are you talking about? Dude, that was probably the most talked about thing that year. That was huge.
I have not heard one person talk about that.
You're trolling. We're talking about trolling.
Indeed.
PT, you know, everybody was like, oh my god, this is the scariest fucking thing I've ever played. So people were like, oh, what's going to happen to Silent Hills? And then obviously the worst, you know, fear came true. Konami canceled the whole shit, you know? So, you know, this obviously led to the whole hashtag fuck Konami. People were just pissed off, you know?
Like slight change to that. It actually wasn't because of that. It was actually something that Jim Sterling created a couple, I think, months back now. Because I follow his YouTube stuff and.
Why?
Because he's an entertaining guy for the most part. But essentially, I believe he started back when PT was announced to be, or Silent Hills was announced to be cancelled, and then he started the hashtag, or he started something called Fuck Konami News, and then that then spawned the hashtag Fuck Konami. So it's actually due to Jim Sterling and not to anyone else.
All right, yeah, because I had, like me, I don't follow Jim Sterling. I don't like that guy, so I had no idea it came from him. But the sentiment is true. Fuck Konami. Everybody felt it. I mean, you know, things are bad when you have a guy like Jeff Keighley going, oh yeah, you know, what Konami did to this guy is not right. You know, he wanted to come to the award show because the game was nominated at the Game Awards for a couple of different categories, and Konami wouldn't let Kojima go. They'd be like, no, you can't fly out there to the award show. Fucked up shit, you know. So yeah, before we get to what happened today, let's get our thoughts here. Chris, what do you think of this whole situation?
I think it's really messed up what they did to him. I mean, Metal Gear is such a beloved franchise. I'm a fanboy, and I love Metal Gear, right? And I think he's done such great things for them. And I think if they had given him the creative freedom, in the end, like, not only would Metal Gear Solid 5 probably be even better than it was than what we got,
yeah,
but he could have revitalized Silent Hill, which is just dead. Like, they ran that whole franchise into the ground. Like, each sequel was worse than the last, and they couldn't even do a remaster right. They even fucked that up, you know. So that was like a dead franchise. And like what we saw with PT, if he got to really finish that game, I can't imagine how good that could have been. Like, what could have been, you know. And it's just deplorable how they've treated him and restricted him. And the thing with the Game Awards, I think that was the final straw for everyone. I think they just realized, like, Jeff Keighley really let the cat out of the bag with how shitty they were treating him and how they were threatening like lawsuits and stuff. Like you get lawyers involved. That's really fucked up, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I made the joke last week, but I wasn't really joking. Free Kojima. And today's news, I'm very happy. So
Yeah, and then jumping on a little bit what you said, no one gave a fuck about Silent Hills anymore. Silent Hill series, no one cared. When did people start talking about it again? When that PT demo dropped, you know?
Well, the thing about it is that the last Silent Hill game didn't do so well. I mean, it wasn't
the last
even
Silent Hill games.
yeah, forget the Downpour was terrible. Homecoming, like you gotta go back. Like I don't think since The Room did it have like decent sales. Like you're going back.
Well, it's also the fault, because the guy who created Silent Hill wasn't at Konami anymore either. He was busy doing Siren for Sony.
Oh, the creative bleed out they've had up until this point is ridiculous. Like all their top guys.
Yep.
Left, you know.
I was actually doing a search to try to see how many of the guys that really, defined the quality of Konami and if they were still there. A lot of it's kind of weird and sketchy if you don't know where anybody is. Like the guy who created Contra, or any of the people who created any of the Contra games, don't know where those guys are. Well, of course, Iga is gone, and the creator of Silent Hill is gone. So that's like all their biggest franchises right there.
Yeah, no, their biggest franchise, period. They're obviously going to keep rolling with Metal Gear. They already said they're going to come out with another one, but without the guy that actually created it, I don't know.
I know that they're going to probably want to try to capitalize and try to make a game as quickly as possible, but just like we've been saying with 343, they really need some time off. They need to let that kind of go away for a little bit and then come back with something. Yeah.
Right, Manny, since you're talking, thoughts on the whole situation?
It's a really bad situation because it's like the part that really stinks about it is that, not knowing any sort of details. Essentially just hearing one thing and then Konami saying, no, that didn't happen, this didn't happen. It's like, dude, there's something. Stop pretending like there's nothing going on, because there's obviously something going on, because you wouldn't, Koji wouldn't be silent. You guys would be, it's like that sort of stuff. You wouldn't be pulling his name off the goddamn cartridges or his game studio, closing down a game studio that was only that was in L.A., which was only around for 2 or 3 years prior until they closed it down. What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, right. And
how do you just pour money and then just say, nope, it's gone?
Yeah, because they obviously don't. They're not thinking about what about the whole East versus West thing, because the Western arm of Konami was telling a very different story than the Japanese side of Konami.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about that, because you actually had some interaction with some of these guys.
I've talked with a couple of guys behind the scenes, and they were just like, we're as disappointed as everybody else is out there. It's like having your parents fight, and them go through a really horrible divorce. He's like, as far as we're concerned, we would love to have Kojima continue to make games until the end of time, and we don't even, also part of it, also some things that they of course they can't speak about any details and stuff like that, but because maybe some of them know a little bit more than everybody else, but at the same time, it's like they don't, those guys on the social media side, all those other guys, those guys have absolutely nothing to do with what's happening. This is something that's happening in Konami Japan, and it just seems personal.
Yeah,
or it seemed personal.
And what about the whole thing how Konami flew a bunch of people over to E3 and stuff?
Like literally they, I have to say it was a weird sort of thing, because it's like it was also kind of at the right time. As soon as I one thing that's kind of weird to happen, like when Kojima had when all that information came out, the last thing that Kojima posted was something that I drew, and it literally blew up my Twitter. And I started off this year at around 600 followers. I'm now at like 3,400 and something followers.
Damn.
Just from this year alone, from that stuff, from posting my artwork alone. And they flew me and a bunch of other fans a lot of fans over to E3 to go to the show. They had Christine Graziano, Young Ye. That's how I met Young. They had a couple of the other cosplayers that were also there as well. A lot of people that were into the fandom and the different message boards and communities and stuff. So obviously the guys over there were trying to take a different, the guys on the West are trying to take a different approach because they understand that there's like so many fans and stuff like that. So they want to kind of show, they've been showing a lot more love toward the fans, which was great. On the Japanese side, you don't hear any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's always contradicting what they said before.
It's always contradicting. It's always contradicting
what the Western guys say.
Yeah, and it's very. They don't feel like that. They're obviously playing the role of the silent corporation bull crap stuff when they really should be trying to get back into the good graces of everybody. But here's at the same time, we don't even know what the future is for Konami. Konami could, as the rumors have been saying, that the Konami is just going to be making slot machines and making mobile games.
Yeah, exactly. Brian, get in here, man. What are your thoughts? And try to answer that question. What is the future of Konami?
The future.
It's very unclear at the moment because Konami just don't seem to be making the right moves gaming-wise, but I'm assuming that they want to move away from gaming by the sounds of it, which is kind of weird, but again, maybe there's something that they know that we don't know. It's unlikely, but at the same time, yeah, this whole Kojima thing does seem very personal because it's just very odd that it would happen. Yeah, that's all I have to say, really. You guys have pretty much said everything else, to be fair.
Yeah, Brett, what do you think, man?
I don't think Konami has a whole lot of future after this. The whole boondoggle, I guess. It's you failed so spectacularly and so publicly that people are going to hold animosity for a while, and your best bet is to somehow get back in Kojima's good graces. But I don't really see that happening. So I don't know where we go from here. It's Kojima needs to find some way to. Well, it's not that he needs to find some way. It's that he just needs to make a Silent Hill type game, and it's done. Hands down, it's done. I don't understand why Konami isn't just bending over backwards, because Kojima pretty much has them at gunpoint as far as I'm concerned. Through a series of swift decisions, he could be detrimental to their company at this point. And not even by saying things, but doing things on his own. Because as it stands, it looks like he's 9/10 of the talent of that company and he just walked away. If he can reinforce this opinion, then that's very bad for them as a company.
Oh, Brett, you just gave me the perfect fucking segue. The best segue I could have talked about. All right. So what happened today? Reports suggest that Kojima is going to be working. He's going to be a Sony employee.
What have I been saying?
What did we fucking tell you? You think he was hanging out? You think he was hanging out with Mark Cerny for fun?
Exactly. And you hear that one comment, that one little bit of comment from Shuhei Yoshida, not even crediting Konami with any credit in making the Metal Gear franchise or producing it. Literally, he says in that interview, you can watch it yourself. It's the 20th anniversary of PlayStation thing, and it's in, I think it's in Europe, right, or England. Anyway, in it he goes, they ask him what are the standout games for you on that first PlayStation platform. He goes, yeah, we had Tekken and we had Ridge Racer. Namco made those amazing games, and then Kojima made Metal Gear. And then he says, and then he even throws in a plug. He's like, man, I really love Metal Gear. It's a really, have you played Metal Gear Solid 5? It's really great.
Yeah, and when he named those other games, he named the company that
he named the company. He didn't name the original creators for any of those games, the directors or game designers for those games. Only Kojima got that one.
Yeah, Harada didn't get it for Tekken.
He didn't say Harada. He just specifically said Hideo Kojima with Metal Gear, and then plugged the actual game. Now, why would you go out specifically to do something like that unless there's something more?
Yeah. So basically, today, December 15th was the last day of Kojima being a Konami, so he's officially not there anymore. But like Manny was telling me, there's a 30-day kind of window where he can't speak about it. So around middle of January is when we're going to hear things official. This is a report from Nikkei, which is like one of the biggest newspapers in Japan, right? And they're usually right about shit. So yeah, he's left Konami officially as of December 15th, and he is going to not partner with Sony. He's going to be a Sony employee to work on a new game.
That's what the translation says, the official translation.
And let's start piecing a couple of things together here. Guillermo del Toro, he said, I plan to work with Kojima in the future. Kojima had this game, even though it was called Silent Hills, right, based on the Silent Hill franchise. It was unlike any other Silent Hill.
And I'm sure he hasn't submitted a game design document.
Yeah.
Usually the way these sorts of things go, especially when they're trying to get the company to be down with something, what they do is they'll submit a game design document, as to where they want to go, what they want to do, and then they sign off from that. Or even sometimes what they'll do is they'll do a presentation. Like if you remember, there was like a pre-rendered kind of Silent Hills video that also showed up not far after that, after the PT demo.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what they would have shown us along with the design document. They probably didn't get to do a design document. They just showed up maybe a proof of the PT was just a proof of concept, but it's not enough in there to kind of give you an idea as to what Silent Hills was. Even the woman in there, they probably just made all of that stuff up so that so that they could be like, okay, this is kind of what we're going to do. So easily they can easily jump off of that.
Well, it depends on the. It depends on the. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I was just had to make this point. Okay, so he's working for Sony, supposedly working for Sony, right? He has this game that he hasn't really started yet. And what does Sony have coming out next year, which is a peripheral they're really touting, a peripheral that works really great with horror games?
Yeah, the thing that everybody's been saying should happen could very well happen. I think that the important thing to keep in mind here is whether contracts in Japan work the same way that they do in America, whereas any idea that you have while breathing the air of that company under contract is theirs. If it's not, then you could have because keep in mind it's not as simple as, oh, he was making a Silent Hill game, now he's making another Silent Hill game. The PT was his iteration of Silent Hill inspired by the previous Silent Hill. So it was already a half step away from Silent Hill. It was Silent Hill through his vision. So it's already a shared vision. Yeah. So at that point he can legally argue that as long as he removes any assets or anything like that, then all that it is something made by him in his own time, inspired by his love of this other game, and that is legally allowed. It has precedent.
But also at the same point, the thing is that there is no, Konami doesn't own the rights to first-person horror game.
Yeah, let's talk about Allison Road real quick.
Allison Road Allison Road, which is an independent project, by all intents and purposes, looks almost exactly like PT.
And the creators flat out said, "Hey, this is inspired by PT." They're not hiding it.
Yeah, inspired by is the key phrase. Like not based on, but inspired by. And all that he has to do is say, I was really excited about making a Silent Hill game. I figured I'd put my own spin on it. They took the Silent Hill out. I was left with this other thing. I polished that. It became its own thing. I tell people all the time, what was it? The 50 Shades of Grey or something like that started as really terrible, I want to say, Twilight fanfic.
Yeah,
and
that's what it was.
Yeah, and nobody ever made any bones about it. Nobody ever hid that. The fact that they're like, oh yeah, this used to be a Twilight thing, then they took all the Twilight stuff out, put new stuff in, and now it's its own thing. That's kind of how a lot of creative people actually create things. They emulate something that they like and then swap out all the parts until it's their own. It doesn't always start as this brand spanking new idea. So go ahead.
Keep going.
Oh, just the idea of inspiration and being inspired by is not only common, but it's highly legal. Like everybody wants to say, like, it would be a bit like, oh, how can they do that? You are legally allowed to be inspired by something. I could make a game almost just like Shenmue and call it Shemnit and say that I was inspired by Shenmue and I wanted to make a game like that. As long as I'm not stealing their assets or their employees, then if I'm not, you know, using the same names or the likenesses, I just do something that's very heavily similar. I mean, it's the reason Transmorphers can be a movie. It's
Yeah.
This exists. It's not far-fetched at all, and this is all a pretty good sign that it may actually happen.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that Japanese copyrights are they're a little looser than when in America. They blatantly rip shit off there, and they get away with it.
And
Rip shit off.
even the original Metal Gear, a lot of things were taken from other things at the time. I mean, you look at Sean Bean, who's on the front of a Metal Gear, the original Metal Gear cover.
That's not Sean Bean. That's Michael Bean.
Sorry. The Michael Bean on the cover of Metal Gear 1. I mean, in one game, you know, in Metal Gear 2, Sean Connery was friggin' Big Boss, you know, and Michael Douglas was Snake. So
well, that's the thing about things being derivative of other things. Like, even if you wanted to make a Metal Gear Solid game right now, you could be like, well, I'm inspired by the same things that inspired Metal Gear Solid. Like, this is a game based on the same stuff that Metal Gear was based on. You can just keep following that line back and then put your own spin on it, and at least as long as it has its own identity, which, again, I'm going to point out, PT already had its own identity outside of the Silent Hill series. Like,
theoretically,
let's just be honest. If you played PT by itself and you had no idea it was set in the Silent Hills, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's Silent Hills. There's no connection there, like
exactly
that you see. Yeah,
and that's exactly how it started. Nobody knew what it was. They just thought, oh my god, and then finally you finally finished off the thing, and then oh wait, it's a Silent Hill game. To be honest, it would have been great if it was just its own title.
And I got to say this, I'm actually very excited for whatever Kojima does, because let's face it, Metal Gear has been great and all, but he's wanted to make other games for decades now, but Konami's always like, make more Metal Gear. Now he can do other shit. And this is Sony we're talking about. Sony is going to let him do whatever the fuck he wants.
Sony has...
But Sony, unlike Japanese companies, listens to their customer base. So it's like having an in with a Japanese developer, which is unheard of.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Well, you're right. Sony's a Japanese company. Actually listens to the fans, So it'll be I guess, like, hey, give the fans something you want, but also, do your thing. But the thing is, Manny, we were talking about this earlier tonight during dinner. It's probably going to take a little while for the first game to be released.
I think we're going to hear. I think like I was saying before, they'll probably have a gag order on him for like 30 days. After his thing, so I'm thinking maybe January the 15th, which is a month, literally a month after his thing. So maybe January 16th, we'll start actually hearing, more about more details about this sort of stuff. But he probably can't. If you notice, you ever looked at his Japanese Twitter, it's pretty quiet right now.
Which is odd. By the way, we should say this because Kojima was always one of the most prolific people on Twitter. He's always tweeting. As soon as this shit happened, the guy was quiet. He was just retweeting people.
Yeah,
right?
that's quiet. Even now, it's only Star Wars. It's only Star Wars stuff right now.
Yeah, because he can't. And I also want to point out, after the gag order, right? He's going to be able to talk about the game. He's not going to talk about what happened at Konami. I don't think that's going to happen for many years.
I don't think he's going to say anything right away. I think what's going to happen is he's going to concentrate on the positive and be like, well, this is my new studio, it's Koja something or whatever we call it, and we have this new game.
It's made entirely
of
gilded
horror.
crystal.
It's made out of what?
It's made entirely out of gilded crystal.
Yes.
We decided to use voxels for this game.
No, The Office. The Office is no. They're even better. We decided to build the entire office out of voxels. Like, how did you? Okay, so let me ask you this. It may be a minute before we'll actually hear something, and obviously he's got to go through a lot of handshaking and office moving over at Sony before he settles down and starts making the game. However, we know that they had a working prototype of PT up, and while he may not be able to take that with him, I know from doing it myself, and I know a lot of other artists, like, there's a lot of mental preparation, a lot of spooling that comes with any of this kind of project, a lot of round tabling, and that's all done. So even if, like, Manny was I'll use this. Manny, if you were drawing a comic book cover, right, and you got 2/3 of the way through it, and it got water damaged or something like that, it wouldn't take you as long to replicate or to get to the point that you were at than if you had started at the very beginning.
because it's already up here, and usually when that sort of stuff happens, it actually winds up being better than the original one.
So we might be able to not expect to see as much of a delay in the actual game coming to us as we would expect from him technically, quote unquote, starting over, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up that point because that's something I talked about too. It's gonna take a while, but not that long because, like you said, most of the heavy lifting has already been done. Now it's just a matter. They already have all the pieces together, right? This is how I say they have the pieces together, and they have their blueprint. Now it's just putting the shit together. You know, all that stuff has already been done. So you're right about that. And the other thing I want to bring up, Brett, this is to a point you made before. How much of a big fuck you would this be if this game comes out and it's a big hit? How much of a fuck you to Konami would it be? You know?
Not just a huge fuck you to Konami. That'd be like the point in the Flash where Zoom kicks the Flash's ass in front of everybody. Like
everybody.
You really you are going to pants Konami in the front of everybody. Like, look, we took your talent. Now what are you gonna do? And Konami's gonna be like, pachinko machines.
They'll be like, here we go. We got that Metal Gear pachinko you've been waiting for.
Yeah. Konami, hang your head in shame and go placate towards old casino living grandmas because that's where you live now. That's your people.
Go home now, Konami.
I also was thinking about all of the, again, this is also a lot of it's all fairly vague. It's like, how much of his staff has he kind of pulled over? Will they all walk? I mean, granted, a lot of the Kojima Productions, the original Kojima Productions staff, still work at Konami. They're not called Kojima Productions. They're called like Studio 8, which is one of the studios that all of their studios are now numbered. They have no names.
Yeah, how fucked up is that? Let's take away your identity and give you a fucking number.
Well,
how overwhelming is that?
Very anime.
It's gonna depend on whether, let's see how much douchebaggery Konami can perform if they're actually threatening these guys with legal action. If they leave, if they find out, they go over to his new studio at Sony, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna depend. Like, if I was there, I'd be like, "Fuck, I'm out," right?
I'm out.
But Konami's wise to what they know what he's doing now, right? And they know his talent is gonna follow him over there.
They already said that some of his boys are coming with him. They already said that.
Right,
know?
but there's also a lot of guys who left already. You know?
Yeah, like the guy who literally the designer of the Fox engine left. Now, what does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
No, what I'm pretty sure will happen is just like whenever this kind of thing and 90% of your talent walks away, Konami's going to scramble around. They're gonna burn through his ranks until they find the one guy who didn't see eye to eye with Kojima and wants to step out of his shadow, and they'll give him the project lead, even though he doesn't necessarily fucking deserve it. I've seen this kind of thing happen before, and I only see one end to this road, and that's going to be they're going to try and crown a new king because of the power vacuum, and they're going to end up with a Joffrey because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have another Kojima just waiting in the broom closet. You fucking don't, Konami.
No,
I don't care what you say.
Yeah, a lot of the whatever developers that are left over there. I mean, guys who create Pro Evolution Soccer, which is they're using Fox Engine. Who is really left to kind of do it? Will a former Kojima guy say, hey, I'll take lead on this new Metal Gear, and then how much pressure will they be under to perform? Because we've seen this with the guys who make Halo. Those guys, friggin' Ryan Payton walked away from Halo because they didn't let him make the Halo that he wanted to make.
Yeah, well, you'll see them replace him with a dog on a short leash. Like this sounds like the plot of a bad anime, but it's kind of true. The prodigal son walks away. They're fine with that. They want somebody who doesn't necessarily do their job well, who's just a lapdog on a short leash and says yes, and they're going to quote it. They'll be like, "We will give you this whole world. All we ask is your unquestioning obedience." And somebody will say yes. Somebody will say yes.
Oh yeah. The chance to kind of take over the franchise. See, the thing is that I think for it has to be dynamic. It has to be if things didn't go down the way they did, I think it would have been a different story. I'm sure there would have been very split. Like some people would have stayed, some people would have went. I think if all push comes to shove, most of those guys would walk over. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially now that Kojima's got like, I've got an ivory palace to welcome you when you guys leave.
Hey,
like, yeah.
It's like, hey guys, I could. This is a huge corporation here. They could probably match your salary or even do you a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And they'll treat you better, give you more freedom. I'm saying there's probably going to be like a 70-30 split. Like there will be some guys who are like, this is my opportunity to make a name for myself. This is my chance. It's like the guys who are like, I'm going to kill the superhero and then be known as the guy who's the strongest. It's a poor attitude and it's not going to bear fruit. But some people are going to take it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And my fear is that Konami is just going to be very like self-imposed blindness on the whole thing and be like, oh yeah, this guy's hugely talented. Have you seen all the games that he's worked on? You're like, dude, he worked underneath this guy you just fired. Like it doesn't work that way. You don't have a genius in the wings, but they're going to spin it that way both because they want to and because they have to, especially not just to us but to their fucking shareholders. Can you imagine them having to face their shareholders right now when their shareholders are just realizing, because this shit is just trickling into the news, that Konami may have lost most of its profitable talent? Like, the shareholders have to be going batshit crazy, and they're going to have to do backflips to reassure these people. They're going to have to do some severe reorganizing and a whole hell of a lot of promises. And I honestly don't see the kind of promises they're going to have to make are not the kind of promises they're going to be able to keep up on.
Yeah, that's true, man. So yeah, this whole thing is obviously developing. We're gonna find out more next year for sure, man. All very interesting. But let us move on to the next thing, the next biggest thing of the year. And this odd, but it's true. We need to talk about E3 2015. This was the fan-fic E3. Like, seriously, you had Fallout 4, right? You had Shenmue 3. You had Final Fantasy Remake, and you had fucking Last Guardian. It's like all the if Half-Life 3 was announced, this would have been DE3 everyone has been asking for.
Not to mention Shenmue.
Yeah, I did say Shenmue.
I just want to reiterate Shenmue again.
Yeah, Shenmue.
Yeah, I say Shenmue. Yeah, so holy shit, and then the whole thing kicked off with Microsoft going, "Oh yeah, you like backwards compatibility, right? We got you." Like real backwards. Okay, or not maybe real, but the closest you can. You pop in your disc, you play your game, right? That's better than PS Now, despite what Hip Hop said last week.
I also want to throw on that list Dark Souls 3. Not because I'm a fan, and not because I'm a huge fanboy, although I am both of these things, but because all of these things that we've marked on the list are things that people have wanted to for a long time. Like these are fucking genie wishes coming true. But I also want to throw Dark Souls 3 up on there because it is pretty much at the apex of its popularity. If you want to talk about a franchise that is hitting its stride and in the mainstream right now, like, you have to bring From Software into this. So I only bring it up to point out the fact that you're seeing past favorite games as well as current favorite games being brought in. So you have the whole shebang. It's not like, we're not getting anything good this year. There's just a whole bunch of old stuff. No, they brought the old, they brought the new, they brought the good stuff, they brought the bad stuff, they brought your mom's fucking Swiss rolls out. Like, they don't give a fuck. They brought everything.
Yeah, man. All right, Britt, since you're talking, tell us what you thought about this crazy-ass E3, because this is the E3 you've been waiting for, man.
I'll say it again. I told you, motherfuckers. You all think that I was just some starry-eyed, hopeful chuckle fuck out from the boonies into the city for the first time, but I told you this shit was gonna happen. I told you it was coming. I felt it in my bones.
Oh man.
What else do you say to something like this? Like, that's amazing. Like, I don't even know that I care about E3 next year, because, like, I can tell you right now, I'm just already like, it wasn't E3 last year. Like, can we ever enjoy E3 again? That's the real question we need to be asking.
Dude, you can't top this E3. Like, maybe,
no, you can't.
You can't.
There's no games that we've been waiting 8 years for. Even if we start the cycle anew again today, it'll be another 10 years before this can possibly happen. Like, let's take all of our favorite video games and stop making them for a decade. And then in 10 years, out of nowhere, we'll tell everybody that we're bringing them back. That's the only way that you can make this happen again. And we don't just abandon successful franchises anymore. That's not a thing that happens.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, okay, I gotta talk about this. Charles Singletary, right? This is a pretty laid-back dude, right? This man yelled louder than Hip Hop Gamer when he saw fucking Final Fantasy VII, man. Like, he rah! And did you guys see that montage video they had at PlayStation X? Okay, so basically it was a montage video of people recording their reactions to E3, right? Dudes were literally crying when they saw Final Fantasy VII Remake. They had that one little Filipino boy. This dude was in tears, man. Like, this shit was serious right there.
Yeah, people don't really care about it, though, because it's an old game.
Fuck you, Brad.
Well, I remember that guy got up. He looked like he won the Price is Right when Shenmue III got announced. Remember? Yeah, they focused on that guy forever. They were repeating that clip. It's like he found out, hey, remember you lost your mom? We found her. That's what he looked like.
All that guy could think is, Shenmue, I must run.
That's it. Like, I don't know where I'm running. I just need to run right now.
Like, he's just like, my legs need to move. Oh my god.
It's like Forrest Gump.
Oh man! And then people got excited for The Last Guardian because it's like, hey, it's still in production, guys. I had given up hope on this shit. As a matter of fact, I still don't have much hope for this game coming out. But it was nice that they showed it to you on the PlayStation 4. But people were like, "Oh my god!" That was the first one, right? And then that E3 was just ridiculous. Like, it was like, no, this is fanfic. This is fucking fanfic. But
can I ask you something as an Xbox owner, real quick, Tony?
Sure. Yeah, I am an Xbox owner, people.
What I can't seem to recall the breaking fan favorite exclusive to PlayStation that was so well received, or exclusive to Xbox that was so well received. I mean, I know there's Final Fantasy, which is a PlayStation title. I know there's Last Guardian, but that's a PlayStation title too. And the other two, I'm pretty sure they're going to be multiplats. Did we forget part of the list? What's going on?
Yeah, I sense some epic trolling here, but as far as huge Xbox game, okay, let's just be honest, man. Xbox keeps giving you these games every fucking year, right, or every other year, so you can't miss them. You can't go, man. Remember Halo? I miss Halo. You get Halo every fucking year. Forza, you can't miss Forza. You can't miss Gears. I'm sorry, Xbox doesn't have shit like fucking Sony did back in the day, or Dreamcast had back in the day, Actually, I guess technically Shenmue would count as the Xbox game people wanted, right? Maybe, but that's
not coming just to Xbox, though, is it?
No, that's a.
Oh, I guess Final Fantasy VII is probably going to be multiplat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Eventually, it's a PS4 game first. Debuts on PS4.
Well, yeah, but I mean, eventually.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, it is multi-platform.
It is multi.
Well, they announced that's coming to PC as well, so I don't know what's going to happen to Xbox. Maybe it'll get left in the dust, or maybe it'll come out later. Who knows?
Yeah, it is coming to Xbox, but later. But yeah, isn't it coming to PC the same time as PS4? I think it is.
I don't know. Give me a second and I'll check.
Yeah, but I think that's the case. But yeah, to answer your question, Brett, yeah, Xbox doesn't have legacy games like that. I'm just being honest, they don't. You got Halo, you got Gears of War. No one gives a fuck about Cameo. Let's just be honest.
Yo, man, I care about Cameo.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
I love me some
Cameo. No one gives a shit about Cameo. I know there was, if they had Lost Odyssey, there would have been that one guy.
I want that game. What was the game with the cards that they canceled? That was the Homecoming.
Yeah, but yeah, and then what was I don't know, but then
I forgot the name of that game. It was like something Blade. It was like a Japanese game for the Xbox One.
What, Phantom Dust?
Phantom Dust. Wasn't that was announced and then immediately canceled?
Was it canceled or delayed?
It was canceled.
Oh.
They canceled. They say it's not canceled, but the studio that was creating the new Phantom Dust game, gone.
Yeah, and then ironically enough, we need we're gonna talk about Fallout 4 now, even though it's a real game in our hands. But this is the point I want to bring up. That's how you announce and release games. You announce the shit at E3, you pop it out in the fall. Don't make us wait all this time. I'd love that shit, And I called it too because people were like, "Oh, when's this game gonna come out?" I'm like, guys, this is Bethesda. They don't announce shit and then make you wait 3 years. When they announce shit, that's because it's fucking done. So you knew that game was coming.
When they announce it, you can start getting hyped, and you don't have to stop getting hyped until the game comes out. It builds perpetually. It's not like oh my god, oh man, I'm tired. I'm gonna get excited later.
Let me tell you, their conference. When Fallout 4, I was like, oh my god, wow, that looks amazing. And then I saw Doom. I was like, oh shit. I was like already throwing money at the screen. It's like, please. I'm ready for this, man.
Like, give me that shit, man. But
Your
yeah,
body is ready.
your body. Yeah, but I mean, personally, to me, outside of the big conferences, E3 was just kind of okay. Even though Brett, I have to admit, being in the same room with Miyazaki was pretty special. They man has an aura about him. I like that guy. Even he probably couldn't understand each other. But that guy was cool. You know. And I go, yeah, Dark Souls 3, that's a good enough addition, even though Bloodborne had just come out, because Bloodborne kind of helped it in a weird way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh shit, Bloodborne's cool. I really like Dark Souls 3. We got you covered, people. Guess what's coming next year? So I would definitely count that as
it's the return of Miyazaki to the Dark Souls franchise, which was in itself a big deal, because the last one he was on was Dark Souls 1, which is like the crowning jewel of video games for a lot of people. So Dark Souls 2 was actually kind of a letdown and left so open-ended that, Miyazaki returning to that shit, like, it was the promise of things getting closed up in a well-done fashion. So it's a bigger deal than it sounds like. It sounds like, oh, it's another game from this company that's pretty much the same thing that came out 6 months ago, but it is landmark in for a lot of fans of the series, and it's highly popular. It's never actually quite hit mainstream until Bloodborne came out, and then Bloodborne came out, like you said, and really helped it out, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, what's this trilogy series they've been working on?
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely think that's an important thing. Almost like a BioShock type of situation, right? BioShock came out, everybody was like, oh my god, this is great. BioShock 2 came out, BioShock Infinite, hey, the same guys that made the first one are back. Oh shit!
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely a great E3. Anybody else have more thoughts on it? Hey, Brian, let's go to you, man, because you haven't been waiting for these games as long as we have. So what are your thoughts as, the young guy?
It was all right. I mean, what do you expect? It's like, okay, did you show any? Okay, my thing is either gameplay or go bust. Because, honestly, if you don't show gameplay, then I don't care. Like, I don't care what game you are, no gameplay, I don't care. So announcing it is fine, but when they start showing gameplay, then I'll start getting excited. But as far as I know, these games can come out and they can be crap, they can be great. Who knows? I don't know. I'll wait and see. I don't have my hopes up, because it seems like getting your hopes up these days leads you to disappointment, and that is a direct referral to Star Wars Battlefront.
Well, hey, wait. Are you talking shit on Battlefront?
Brett, do not even start right now.
Oh, I'll have this conversation.
Throwdown.
I'll have this conversation.
Go. I'll let you go first.
If you are going to swallow the Shooterman pill, what better flavor to coat it in than Star Wars? Let's be honest.
That game is trash.
Damn.
I love it.
Right from the jugular. How is it any different than Call of Duty or Battlefront or Battlefield?
Oh, yeah, that's why it's trash. Because it is Call of Duty with a Star Wars skin. It's not Star Wars Battlefront. Like, they stripped away a good 80% of what made Star Wars Battlefront 2 so great.
Oh yeah. No, if we're talking on that, like, I kind of view this game like I do Bane from the new Batman movie. Like, it's its own thing. Because if it's not its own thing, I get so mad.
Okay, in that context, then I would consider it to be a bad villain called Bane. So, not actually a good villain called Bane, or Bane from the films, or Bane in general. It's just someone who thinks they're Bane, and they're bad at acting, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they just spend the whole time just going while sitting around in a chair. That is Star Wars Battlefront to me. It is an embarrassment of a game, and EA should know about that.
I hear
you should be ashamed.
I hear Bane coming out of Darth Vader. It's like, I wonder which one breaks first, Luke, your body or your spirit.
Brian, it's like, hold on, just so we understand, Brian literally said Star Wars Battlefront is Bane from Batman. Batman Rises.
Oh no, worse than that, Tony.
I think he's saying he's Bane from Batman and Robin.
No, that's That is still a better Bane than the new Bane. God damn it!
Okay, you know what?
At
Star Wars
least he wore a
Battlefront.
fucking mask and it had a fucking venom in that thing.
Okay,
Jesus
how about
Christ!
the Star Wars Battlefront is Superman 4.
Oh, it's Nuclear Man. It's Nuclear Man.
It has zero
It's-
redeeming
it's-
qualities. It looks like something that you know, but it's nothing like you know.
So
Oh.
bad.
Damn.
It's,
Hey,
it,
hey,
it looks
at
like
least it's better than Superman 3.
it looks like what you wanted, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
Nothing
Oh,
like
man.
See, I view it kind of like Steak and Shake, right? Like it's not actual food, right? Like if you think it's an actual burger made from actual food, you're lying to yourself and you're a fool for being there in the first place. But regarded amongst the other fast food choices, not bad. Not bad. And I say this, arena shooters are a thing. They are a thing now, and they will always be a thing. There will always be a shooter man. So you tell me a better shooter man than Star Wars shooter man.
You know what just happened? So you're saying Star Wars Battlefront is this kind of food. It's kind of shitty, but it's still food. Brian is saying it's literally you taking a picture of that food and eating that paper. Like there's food on that paper, but it's a facsimile. But
It's
I
a
don't
piece
know,
of
yeah.
paper.
It's how I say that everybody has their fallback game. Like everybody, like for the most part, the reason these Call of Duties are fine, they're like, I've got 20 minutes to dig around. Like we play Battlefront up at the tattoo shop because it's not like we're gonna get involved in Fallout or something like that. You sit down, you play 20 minutes of something, you have a tattoo client come in, you work, you pass off the controller to somebody else. It's non-committal, it's mind-numbing, time-consuming, let's say quote unquote fun. Which is the best iteration of that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm still pissed that it's not the old Battlefront, but you know, better than the other shooter man options. That's where I'm going.
Shooter man with a Star Wars skin. Perfect. Manny, E3 thoughts.
Yeah, it was you know, part of it was like I didn't even know it was going to be going. And just to be there, actually be there again against the odds, which was really great, and just to see all the really cool press conferences, I thought that it doesn't seem like it was any real.
Yeah,
Like-
it was surreal, isn't it?
It was like you know, okay, you know, you remember that the other E3 when they announced all the consoles, and that was really cool. But I mean, it still felt like, okay, yeah, all right, cool. And then this one is just like, whoa, what? And then I mean, granted, people don't want to mention, you know, they don't want to mention the fact that Phantom Dust was one of the fan fiction titles there for a second there too,
Xbox,
until
right?
until they canceled it. So, you know, that was even one too. Like everybody was obsessed. Like there's a diehard Phantom Dust fan club, you know, for that game, and to just hear that there was going to be another one made, that was really cool. And yeah, Shenmue, Final Fantasy VII, Last Guardian, these games you were just like thought would never happen again.
Yeah, man, you were sitting right next to Charles when that shit went down. Man.
Yeah, Charles almost hit me in the face with his fury. I'm like, I wanted to move over.
Oh yeah, by the way, another fun thing we did, you know, just to balance things out, that Nintendo World thing was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I have to say that is Nintendo doing it right.
Yes.
What they did is they went out there to say, okay, we don't have a fucking press conference, but you know what we do have? Something free for all you people to come in and look at. That is cool. And that to me gave me, you know, that was like, all right, you get the points right there, Nintendo. At least for this one.
No, even though it's interesting that it was free, but there was barely anybody in there.
You know, I think at the same time as like, you know, at the time that we went in, we were at the end, and I'm sure there was a lot more people earlier on.
That was the best part, though, man. Like, fuck that Smash Brothers shit. I want to see Mario Maker.
I think
man.
also at the same time people wanted to win, you know, because I'm sure a lot of people went early on to get all the free swag. Like they didn't have anything like free shit that you could get later on, but it didn't really matter. I mean, to me, that was the perfect that right there was the perfect demo of Mario Maker. Getting, you know, like, okay, yeah, you could see it, working, you know, and the little things, but to actually see people creating levels and then seeing them go through these crazy, insane levels that were created by these guys, that's the way you show it, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody was invested.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was a really good E3. Just personally speaking, being there, that was the best E3 I ever attended.
Well,
I don't know if it's going to be topped, but it was fucking good. Go ahead, Chris.
Nintendo also said it first by, and somebody can check for me if any company has ever had a petition created right after E3 to cancel a game that they talked about.
Oh, man. You mean Metroid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Metroid. Record time.
Yeah, that was
so
bad.
much hate for that thing. I was watching streams on Facebook and shit. Like, wow.
Yeah, what was the one thing about all that stuff? Because one thing, you know, when you're there, you kind of are in a void.
Yeah.
So many of those reveals and stuff that they have online, you really don't see what they are until later.
Yeah, I didn't find out about that in Metroid until I got back home. It's like, what? What's going on with Metroid now?
No, I remember Ryan was watching it too while we were there.
Yeah, but I ain't got time to watch shit while I'm there, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like on a little screen and stuff, like, you know, have a press conference, Nintendo. How about that?
Yo, man, your monitor's not very big, is it?
Yeah. Oh, man.
You want to watch that on your TV?
I'm in LA, man. But
I'll tell you a highlight of E3. Staying across the street from the fucking silent Scientology, Church of Scientology. Imagine waking up to that every day.
Yeah, right. You just heard it.
Yeah, it makes a buzzing noise like the Reapers from Mass Effect.
All right, let's move on to the next big thing that happened. Kotaku being blacklisted. So basically, I was going to say earlier this year, like last month, fucking Kotaku, they made this post. Steven Totillo said, oh yeah, Bethesda and Ubisoft have effectively blacklisted us. Okay, Bethesda flat out blacklisted them. You know, Ubisoft, they kind of just don't deal with them anymore. Why? Because you know, they leaked certain things. They leaked the fact that Fallout 4 exists. Then they leaked some details about the new Assassin's Creed. They called it Victory, but now it's called Syndicate. So these companies didn't like that. They cut them off. So they did this article, I guess, in an attempt to garner sympathy from people, right? And you saw the internet was split in half. It was interesting. Mm-hmm. Half the people were like, yeah, like Kotaku's trying to do their job. They're journalists. They need to dig things up, right? And, you know, people sided with them, you know, on that side. Then there was the other side I belong to. It's like, if you're going to leak shit, this is what's going to happen to you. So I don't want to hear you fucking crying, you know? So this whole big thing happened. What's a journalist? All this shit came up. What's ethical? Madness ensued. And Brett, I want you to go first because you actually missed that episode where we signed it off, and I know you probably have some very strong thoughts on this.
I mean, I do. I just go to somebody else first.
Okay, you got to collect your thoughts.
I'm still formulating, and I'm afraid I'm going to miss something on this because I'm not as well versed as the rest of you guys.
Okay.
So you shout it out, touch on some topics, and I'll chime in here.
We'll give you some fuel, my friend. Don't worry about that. Okay, so here's the part that I kind of found interesting because I got into a lot of fucking debates for like a whole week, basically. Because my whole stance is like, listen, yeah, it's okay. I give you that fact. It's fucked up that these companies do that because these companies basically they have the fruit and we have to try to get it from them, and they could deny us that fruit. That's just the relationship. It's fucked up. But that's the way it is. So if you know this is how the game works, why are you out there bitching about it? How about you just don't delete shit? Listen, this isn't Woodward and Bernstein. You're not uncovering anything fucking dramatic here, anything world-breaking. You're releasing information that is going to be known anyway. They were going to release information on Syndicate. They were going to release shit on Fallout. All this stuff was going to be known. This was nothing groundbreaking that you guys broke. So for them to say we were just doing our journalistic job, it just seemed very like disingenuous to me, or maybe not just disingenuous. It just seemed very like they were full of themselves. You know, the whole message that he posted just seemed very whiny and also privileged at the same time.
I don't understand though, because like they make money, right? So they should be able to procure these things. Like they're not reliant on handouts. They're not a small time gig. It's pure entitlement. They don't need to be given copies of things. They're just mad that they're not.
Yeah. I don't know whether or not it was in that post or another post, but Stephen did mention that they they bought a copy of Fallout 4 and then the review came out later, but yet it still got as many hits as average reviews get.
Oh, he didn't buy it. He acquired a copy from another.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so he still didn't buy it.
Yeah, he still didn't buy it.
He still got it.
Yeah, he bragged. Like
they got the game. They got the game like after it's dropped, and then the review came out a lot later than it would have, and yet they still got similar amount of hits. So it seemed like them being back and blacklisted didn't really have an effect, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it didn't at all. Here's the thing about Fallout. The embargo broke for that game for everybody. It broke the day beforehand. They weren't going to get that fucking review out any earlier if they had gotten it the day before. But here's the funny thing. They got a review of the game because one of their boys from New York Times, he got a copy and he just gave it to them. That's how they got their shit, you know?
That's doubly shit. That's not even just like going against the developer's explicit wishes, but that's everything that you can say is possibly wrong about pirating games, like right there without even fucking pirating. Like you got a free copy of the game against the developer's wishes, did not give the developer any money, and then turned around and profited off of talking shit on this game. Like, that is just the worst kind of behavior.
To be fair, they didn't say anything bad about Fallout.
Just talking about it, just fucking talking about the game. Like, you stole the product that you turned around and sold to somebody else. That's like running a truckload of VCRs off the road and then fucking selling them. You stole from this publisher after they explicitly told you not to. You went behind their back and out of your way to fuck over your bread and butter. Like, that is just subhuman behavior as far as I'm concerned.
But in their eyes, they're going to say, we had no choice but to do this because they wouldn't give us the game. That's their counter. What do you say to that?
To that I say, okay, so if the options are between, here's something I want to do, but in order to do it, I don't do something morally ambiguous, I say, welcome to being fucking human. Don't do the thing that's kind of shady but gets you the thing that you want. That's basic human behavior that's across the fucking board. I may want a candy bar. If I don't have the money for the candy bar, I don't fucking steal the candy bar and then be like, well, they wouldn't give it to me. No, it's not their responsibility to fucking give it to you. It's not on their back to give it to you. There's no other way to explain it than you feel you're entitled to this thing. And this isn't even hyperbole. You literally feel entitled to this thing, so somebody should give it to you, or you're going to steal it and not feel bad about it because somebody should have given it to you. There is not a more apt definition for entitlement that I could possibly think of than this instance right here. It is literally textbook definition.
Yeah. I would say also that there was no lesson learned on the part of Kotaku. Like, what they did, and getting blacklisted by 2 companies, he didn't skip a beat to blame them. He didn't skip a beat to crawl back to fans, which, as Tony pointed out, that they declared gamers were dead before that.
Yeah.
And he was calling back to everyone for sympathy.
Chris, I need to stop you right here because this just pissed me off. So Kotaku, at the end of this thing, had the audacity to say, "Oh, we need to do this for you guys. We're here for you guys." Interesting, you're doing it for us because last year you could proclaim us fucking dead. What's that? Which are you for us or are you against us? It's fucking bullshit. I just had to throw that in there. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, and just the fact that he wrote this whiny article. They ended up getting the game anyway for free, and there was no lesson learned. Like, they're like, oh, it was our journalistic duty to report on these things, when it absolutely is not. Like leaks and stuff, there's a reason game companies keep things under wraps, and there's a reason for announcement schedules and stuff, so we don't have things like the ending of Mass Effect ruined and they have to go change it and stuff like that. That's why those things happen, you know? So it's because of Kotaku not knowing the boundaries and having no moral or ethical compass whatsoever in journalists. They just want clickbait. They just want hits. So it's just whatever they can talk about.
I like how they substitute business model with journalistic integrity.
Yeah,
Like,
and
no,
yeah.
you're not exposing like a big police corruption ring or doing anybody favors. All you're doing is hitting your own deadline and possibly affecting your own bottom line. Like there's no altruism in what you're doing, and I love the fact that like no, it's our responsibility as journalists. One, you're not journalists. Two, even if you did have a responsibility, it's absolutely meaningless because you do no good to the world as a whole. And three, the only thing this is affecting is your own bottom line. So like to blatantly lie to people like that, like no, this is my responsibility. This is my job. It's like this is my responsibility to go and eat cupcakes today. Fuck you. It's your pleasure to go and eat cupcakes. No, the world isn't gonna fall apart if you don't go and eat a goddamn cupcake today. It's just a self-imposed arbitrary limitation that you want to pat yourself on the back with to make yourself feel better. Fuck you and your horse.
Yeah, a couple of things I need to touch on. I was going to say go with some Chris, but I'm going to go with Brett said here. Okay, the whole journalism thing, right? And this is an argument I got into people with, right? And some people even claimed, okay, I'll get to that later. But basically, my whole premise is this, right? Entertainment reporters are not journalists, and I'm talking about myself too. You guys have never seen me say I'm a journalist because I'm not uncovering anything like important. I'm not like digging for all this shit. I'm reporting about fucking video games. I'm reporting about movies. That's all I do. That's not actual journalism.
You're just transporting one bit of information that's usually given by another source or from the sources themselves to another location.
Yeah, and
you're not actually going. Well, I'm going to go inside of Konami and find out the secret reason why they fired Hideo Kojima. You know, you're not.
That's journalism.
That is journalism.
Yeah, and by the way, just to give credit where it's due, Kotaku did a great piece on Destiny, and Patrick Klepek, he went and dug and he found out why Destiny had no story. Great piece. That's real journalism. You leaking shit? You're not supposed to be leaking. That's not fucking journalism. I'm sorry. And some people even told me, I'm not gonna name names, but they told me that I'm absolving myself of responsibility by not calling myself a journalist. No, I'm not. I'm just not a fucking journalist. I don't have a journalism degree, and I'm not uncovering anything like hidden I'm not uncovering some fucking corruption at Konami or some shit like that. I'm just reporting on fucking games. That doesn't make me a journalist, and it doesn't make you a fucking journalist too. If you want to call yourself a journalist, fine. I'm not going to take it away from you, but just know that you're not. And just to get a little personal here, last year, right? I had to like fucking redo my I'm forgetting the name of it. Anyway, I had to redo some shit, right? And the guy asked me, "Hey, what do you do?" And I told him, "Hey, I write about video games." And he was like, "Oh my God, you write about video games? That's the most awesome thing ever, man." And I thought to myself, and I didn't tell him this because it would have been like, I'm like, what is a video game journalist? What do I do on a daily basis?
That's every job ever in every field ever.
No, but the thing is, I didn't realize. You know what I mean, Brett? I didn't realize what I was doing until that moment. I'm like, oh, what am I really? I'm really a shill for these game companies. And I got very upset about that. I even wrote like a huge thing on one of the. Actually, it was in an episode of The Throwdown. Like I wrote a big thing about it because I was on that episode and I kind of went off on that. But yeah, that's when I realized what I am, what all of us are.
It's okay. Yeah, I'll agree. We're all whores. Like we're all whores, but some of us kiss on the mouth. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
like the main difference being like the thing all you people have to understand is if somebody sends a video game to somebody else for free, and that person does a review on that, by definition, what you have at this point is sponsored content, and there's nothing wrong with sponsored content as long as you're above board with it. It's when you start trying to swap out actual news or unsponsored content with sponsored content and start trying to confuse your people that you run into an issue. And that's what the heart of it is like whether or not you're trying to confuse your public or your fan base. Like we're all real above board with you guys. We're not gonna lie about anything, which is the reason Tony's telling you this. Is he's telling you, no, like I get free shit for being here. They send me a video game. I do a review on a video game. It's a quid pro quo. Granted, Tony may not be driving a BMW, but at least he's being honest about the small amount of return that he or other people generally get from this. People working in this industry, they get paid to work in this industry. They have ulterior motives. But the thing is, we want to make sure that those ulterior motives aren't in contrast with the ulterior motives of our consumer base, and as long as you maintain that, that is a fine and awesome business relationship. That is a good relationship for any video game company to have with its customers. It's a good relationship for any journalism or news site or aggregate site to have with its customers, and that's how we're going to be trying to talk to you. The main difference is the view of which we have our customers and the moving of the goalposts. The things that we've told you are always the things that we told you. We'll always be straight with you. We're not going to proclaim you dead one year, and then the savior of the industry the next year. Like that's the main difference.
Yeah,
it's the flip-flopping.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And now this isn't to say that publishers aren't at fault either, because they kind of are. Because again, just playing devil's advocate, blacklisting Kotaku for that was pretty fucking petty too. You know, it's like, okay, it's fucked up that they leaked your game, but everybody knew it was coming. But they've blocked people for pettier shit. You know, you've seen that.
We're under no obligation to send anybody free shit, especially if they want to be dickbags about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I can see both sides. Understand?
I applauded this. And like I know, and I think that they knew too. Like this isn't actually going to change anything. It's just going to out Kotaku as the thiefy little dickbags that they are, because now everybody has to know that if they're doing reviews, they're not sponsored reviews, that these people don't want them to be doing reviews and they don't like them, which takes a certain amount of legitimacy away. It's chipping away at the cornerstone, which I think at the end of the day is pretty smart. Like the only way you get rid of a Kotaku is by everybody standing up and being like, this is fucking ridiculous and I refuse to participate in this shenanigan anymore. It's just, I'm not doing it. And that's the way real adults end a ridiculous conversation. And so I kind of applaud them for saying, we're just not going to fucking deal with that anymore. And now it's all the rest of our responsibilities to step and be like, you know what? Good, because the rest of us don't want to deal with this shit either. Don't let them be the odd man out, because then that's like one guy trying to start a slow clap. You need other people to join in.
I need to jump in on this, though, because it's interesting, because a similar situation, actually almost the exact same situation, happened in 2007. Kotaku was blacklisted by Sony, right, for leaking information about, I forgot what it was, for some service or something. They leaked information, and they did the same thing. They told everyone, right? Everybody almost unanimously went on Kotaku's side. Sony, how could you do that? That's fucked up. That's wrong.
Yeah, because that was investigative journalism. That was actual journalism. Yeah. They leaked something that other people didn't want them to find out. They were on our side against those people.
Yeah, but that's the thing I want to bring up. The reason I'm talking about this is because back in 2007, right? We didn't have what we have now. Like Kotaku was the big shit back then. When Brian Crescente was running it, they were a site for us, and they were honest about it. They were for gamers, and all we had to rely back in those days was just gaming journalists, traditional journalists, right? 2015, different story. You don't need a Kotaku anymore. You go on YouTube to find your shit. You go to guys like us to find your shit. So Kotaku, they probably thought, oh yeah, remember how everybody backed us up in 2007? They're gonna do it again. No, because you're not the same Kotaku you were in 2007, and the world is different now. So no one's gonna come back you up when you do shit like that. Oh, they're not gonna give us a game because we leaked it. Boo-hoo. No one gives a shit anymore. You know why? Because we don't need you anymore for this shit. We have other people that could give us, information that we know we could actually trust, not your shit. That's the world we live in now. And again, it is. The relationship is weird between publishers and the people that actually post these stories, but that's how it is. And if you want to be in the game, you got to play the fucking game. Don't kiss their asses. Obviously, you should never do that. Like Brett, you talked about kissing in the mouth. I'm thinking about like eating ass. Don't eat ass, because there was a lot of people that went out of their way going, oh, we would never do that. We'd love Ubisoft. We'd love Bethesda. We don't do that to you guys. You fucking kiss asses,
Yeah, be unapologetic for your shit. That's why you say like if it's for good reason, then you say like, yeah, they blocked us, but we're still gonna buy games and continue to get them for you. We will dig up something for you, the gamer, and that's what they're trying to do. They're saying the right thing, just after being a complete and total dickbag.
Thank you, because you're right. What they said wasn't bad. Like, hey, you know what? We still got the game because we want to give it to you guys. That's fine. But again, last year you kind of told me. I mean, I guess I'm a zombie. I was dead. I'm still here. The other thing I wanted to bring up. The whole whiny shit, man. Okay, I'm not gonna name names, obviously, but there is a specific gaming, publisher that doesn't give us any fucking love at all. You don't see us making posts about that shit because we know that would be like unprofessional as fuck. We don't do that. We could easily do that and get a fucking million hits, but we're not gonna do that. Yet it's just funny because we're the independent guys and we seem to have more integrity than the big guys. How crazy is that? Come on. Some people said, "Oh, they didn't whine at all." It was fucking whiny as shit. I don't know how you could read that and not see that. It was the whiniest fucking article, man. Ugh, man. I don't know. Anyway, any other thoughts on this?
Made your bed, now lie in it, bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop whining. Take that, Kotaku.
Go ahead, Chris. Finish it off. Unless Brian.
I just said stop whining.
Yeah. Actually, Brian, you finish it off, man.
I was watching a video from Total Biscuit the other day, and it was to do with this case in general, and I'd made some very good points. Majority ones that you guys have already made so far, but then he made some counterpoints of how blacklisting itself is actually not all that great, and how essentially by blacklisting you essentially remove you remove a voice from the ethosphere, or no, you remove a voice from the space, and by doing that, that's never a good thing. That's never really, it's never a good thing to remove a voice that spews an opinion, no matter how bad or wrong that opinion may be, which I agree with, As much as I don't like Kotaku, and I think that they're just a bunch of amateur bloggers, them not having a voice is a bad thing. But
here's the thing, though, Brian. They still talked about Fallout. They still got their hands on the game.
That was the flip side. Is that again? Like even in that same post, they still said that blacklist did jack shit to them. So it's kind of like they still had their voice. They still have their platform. But then it brings up the case of like the foreign relationship that the games media has with the games press, and it's really funky,
Yeah.
Tony, I'm pretty sure that you know, right?
Yeah.
So
man.
it's again that conversation needs to be had at some point, hopefully soon. But then again, it may have really bad consequences, so that's why it may never happen. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. At the same time, Kotaku, you made your bed, now lay in it. That's pretty much how I feel. Like I can't really sympathize with them. Like I don't feel sorry for them. It's like it's like someone who headbutts a wall after you told them don't headbutt a wall, and then they essentially just crack the skull open. It's like what am I supposed to do?
I told you what would happen.
Feel bad for them, like I told them don't do that. Everyone told them not to do that, yet they still came on, and then hey, it is no one else's fault apart from theirs. And what they did was childish and crying out and saying, "Oh, they blacklisted us, boo-hoo us," and all that crap. And fishing for the sympathy vote. That's what really got to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low. All right. Moving on here. Nintendo. We got to talk about Nintendo, man. Some shit happened. Obviously, we had.
They're a cereal now.
Yeah, but seriously though, Iwata passing away, that was definitely.
Yeah.
That definitely fucked up. The guy, he had health problems, and obviously caught up to him,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about that. It's just, the guy. What I liked about Iwata was he was a businessman and an actual programmer too. So he understood both sides of it. He's a very unique guy in that way. A lot of these guys are either suits or they're developers. They're not like a combination. So that, obviously, sad. I hate to bring this up, but it's just true. It's just sad that, when we had that one moment, we could really honor this guy publicly. Reggie had to go throw in fucking sale numbers, and it's like, come on, man. You say you honor this guy, yet you're gonna just, fucking beat your chest and stuff during the eulogy. Very tasteless, But yeah, I don't really have much to say about Iwata in that sense. It's just tragic. Any other thoughts on Mr. Iwata?
Well, I actually talked to him, and he's very smart. And yeah, it's pretty tragic how he died, his health problems and stuff. I know he was getting treatment for some kind of bile duct issue, and obviously it recurred. It's a rare condition, but obviously it was plaguing him, and it's very sad that he passed away. And I felt that Nintendo themselves should have done more to honor his passing, besides that little eulogy at the Game Awards that Tony just talked about. I didn't appreciate that either. I think they should have had a full on Nintendo Direct and anything honoring his legacy, talking about all the stuff he done, like working at HAL Laboratories, working on the Kirby games and all that stuff, how he came up through the ranks. It's like Yamauchi picked this guy to succeed him as president of Nintendo. That's a big deal, man. That's coming up through the ranks. So that's like a big story, and I didn't hear any of that. I heard numbers in there, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, man. All right, but let's unless you guys want to say anything about it, why I don't want to talk about just Nintendo this year because man, they're making some questionable decisions as always with Nintendo. The DNA shit, the NX, which the NX. Okay, I want to talk about let's talk about the NX first. So the NX is coming out 4 years after the Wii U. So if you were in the market to buy a Wii U, you hear about the NX, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm not buying a Wii U now because Nintendo just said, okay, I guess they just admitted the Wii U was just a failure, so they're just cutting their losses, starting over with a new console, a console that is supposedly going to be comparable to actual current gen. I don't care what you guys say. The Wii U is not a current gen console at all. It is not comparable to a PS4 or an Xbox. Not even close. It is a last gen console, technically speaking. So they're finally going to have a current gen console, but at the same time, I believe they're going to do it in some weird Nintendo way that's going to alienate people. Have you seen the specs for the controller? Some weird shit.
Yeah, the patent drawings with that full screen, and it has like a touch part and 2 like analog sticks. It looked really weird. I know like the final things never look like those patent drawings, but the idea of it is very bizarre. And it looks expensive.
Yeah.
Like that was what I was thinking. I'm like, this thing is a whole screen, but it's covered up by your hands. So how is that going to work? I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I don't know. So then NX, the thing we talked about this before, right? The NX is basically dead in the water unless they get those third parties in. And the third parties, like we said, they're like, listen, unless this thing proves itself to be a success, we ain't jumping in. So it's kind of like a catch-22, with these guys. Like they need the third party support, but the third party's not going to jump in unless it proves to be a success. So.
Yeah, I kind of see it problematic too because EA just recently made that statement, right? Yet we were hearing rumors before that they were giving out dev kits, right? So that means that if that rumor was true, then EA already has a dev kit of this thing in hand, and then said that, right? Which means they didn't see. If you think about this logically, like Nintendo, I don't care what, stop with the fairy dust and let's think logically for a second. They have a dev kit. They see the specs for the system. They know what it's capable of, or early on what it's capable of. And EA still came out and said that they are not going to develop for this thing until it proves itself, which must mean that the hardware doesn't have much there to entice them to do anything with it, which is bad. That right off the bat is like a red flag.
Or the hardware may be just too weird to develop on. It could be that, let's just, okay, like PS4 and Xbox One, let's just be honest, internally they're almost the same console, right?
Yeah, they're basically PCs.
Yeah, so if you make one game for one system, you can make it on the other. Nintendo, you know what Nintendo's going to do. They're going to make some weird proprietary shit that they're not going to teach anybody how to actually optimize. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, the Nikkei insiders leaked that it was going to be Android based, which set off this whole like rumorville. It's like, okay, is it going to run mobile hardware? If it's going to run mobile hardware, I don't see how you're going to compare the power of this thing to PlayStation and Xbox, right? There's two totally different things. That's RISC-based ARM processors that Nintendo's going to have to use to make this work versus PC-based architecture, right? So right there, I don't understand how they're like, oh, we're gonna like they're saying, oh, it's gonna be as powerful or more powerful than PlayStation, Xbox. Like, how do you measure that? And then next thing, it's mobile hardware. If it's gonna be Android based, then it's like what, maybe that right there set off red flags for people because if you're gonna have third party developers port stuff to it, that's a huge architecture leap from PC to mobile architecture. I don't see
Yeah.
them like wasting the development time on that. Like maybe that's why EA made that statement. Like that's a huge leap. It's not PC to weaker PC, where it's like the consoles right now. It's PC to completely different mobile architecture, And then those patent drawings were weird with the modules and stuff. I don't understand what was going on or what they're thinking with that.
Yeah, that's the other thing, it just seems like they want you to be able to play this on a variety of mobile like devices and stuff. Like, okay, is that to like offset the whole DNA thing? I guess we could jump into that. Again, okay, so they're trying to get into the mobile market, right? And they were like, okay, we're gonna make 5 games to begin with. Nintendo doesn't seem to understand how the whole mobile market works. You need to make a shit ton of games, in order for you to even break even. And what's gonna happen? Okay, they're gonna release this one game for like $5, right? Then you're gonna have 20 companies releasing that copies of that game for cheaper, like that,
Right.
like I've read reports where people are like, like mobile game developers, like, yeah, we need to make a shit ton of games per year just to stay profitable. And Nintendo thinks they're gonna just magically be profitable with 5 games.
Well, I think their hubris is just carrying over into mobile. They made this DNA deal. First of all, DNA can't even release a game on time. That Meme Maker thing is delayed till next year. They couldn't even get that out this year. So how is that going to work down the road where you're going to release games? They can't even get one thing out. It's an app. It's not really a game. And then looking forward to them making game development. I'm sorry, but look at their library of games, like their licensed games, like their Transformers games or anything else they've licensed. It is not very good,
Yeah.
And I don't know, like at this rate, with all the stuff that we're seeing and all the stuff they're doing, and like this mobile deal, which is half-assed, and everything they do just seems to be weird, or just like the decision making doesn't make any sense. They might as well become a toy company again at this rate. Just make amiibos. Like that seems to be where they're going. Like that may be where they're headed.
Yeah, because everything else is pretty much failing for them. Like, even, okay, I know people are going to, what about the 3DS? Yes, the 3DS is still doing good, but that's going to taper off. Let's just be honest. I can't last forever.
Right. What else? What is coming out for 3DS? Like, besides like some third-party stuff, what is coming out for 3DS that has anybody excited?
Yeah, and now they're confusing everybody with 3DS. And now they have this new model of 3DS that only has, like, 2 games on it that you could actually play? Some shit like that. Nintendo's messaging as always, and I don't understand these guys that just stand behind Nintendo so loyally, claim that Nintendo is like the actual game company out there. They're doing shit right. Like, what universe do you live in? I don't understand. Like, I was thinking about this today because Nintendo have released a new Direct, right? And I'm like, I just don't understand Nintendo. Like, even when I was just a strictly PlayStation 4 guy, I understood Xbox. I understood the fans. I understood the type of games. Nintendo, I'm like, what dimension are you from? I don't understand the games. I don't understand the fan base. I don't understand the ecosystem. Nintendo is just weird, man. Like, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel that way. It's like, this isn't really for me. Like, I'm gonna stick here with the shit I know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't understand how like anybody could say like they're for the gamers. They shit on their core audience constantly. I'm just gonna flat out say it. Like when they do things like the delay Zelda and say they're not gonna talk about it, and then it's like, well, here have Triforce Heroes, and here's Federation Force. Isn't this the Metroid game you wanted? A pinball game? Like this is just like in your face, like just flat out making fun of you, and it's like they don't care about anyone, and they know they don't care because I was there when they said that kind of shit. So they know they don't care about their core audience, but yet these guys love it. And it's like, it's not for you when the guys like Phil Spencer sit down and tell you what they're planning to do and talk about things, and they take feedback from gamers and actually put it in the damn system. That's for the gamers, right? When Sony takes feedback and then applies it to the fucking system, or like goes, oh, well, people are interested in this game, let's look into this, let's look into that, or developers do that. That's for us, right? Nintendo seems to just descend from on high back in the 90s and go, here you go, here's this thing. And we're supposed to go, oh, thank you. I was so thirsty. I appreciate it. No, it's like you don't listen to what anyone wants. You don't look around you and see what's going on. You don't see trends. You don't see anything. And you're just like, oh, VR, that's dumb. Oh, really? Well, guess what? Next year, you're going to get schooled again. when this NX comes out and PlayStation has VR and there's Oculus and HoloLens and everything else going on, and everybody is like light years ahead of you, and you're coming out with an ARM-based mobile system, wow, that's gonna. I think school's gonna be out for you.
Oh man, no, but that's a great point though. It's just hubris. They really think it's the '90s where, what they give you, like you should be honored that they're giving you something. It's like it's not this little patch of ocean where we're talking about blue ocean, right? No, we have an entire world now. It's like we don't like your shit, we go somewhere else, man. It's like you can't be shit on what other people are doing when no one's buying your shit to begin with. Total fucking hubris, man. So then this future, as I've said many times, Nintendo is going to have to become a third-party developer if they want to survive and be credible. Third-party development. Stop with this bullshit. No one wants to buy your consoles anymore. Even your fans are getting sick of you. Like it's over. Like only those hardcore guys, like Triforce Johnson. That's all you're gonna have left.
But like all they got left is the guys frothing at the mouth and just like, it's like if you touch them, they like flip out. It's like if you say one wrong thing. Like that's all you have left now. You have these like nutbags, right? And you'll have a couple of people like kids like want to play a couple of your games and buy that, and maybe that's where your sales are coming from. But for the majority of gamers, they have abandoned you because you've abandoned them.
Yeah.
And then you expect to come back and buy this. Why?
Yeah. Like, get out of here. Come on, man. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on Nintendo?
The gods of Olympus have abandoned us.
All right.
Well, they think they're the gods of Olympus then?
They were the former gods, but Kratos took them down.
All right.
Kratos and Master Chief.
Yeah, Kratos and Master Chief and everybody else, Nathan Drake. Okay. I want to segue to what you said. Let's finish it up with VR. Brett, I'm looking at you specifically. What did you think of the state of VR in 2015 and how it's going to lead into 2016? Mr. Brett, if you're still around. Come on, Brett.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry.
Okay. So what do you think of VR this year, man?
I mean, there's still no real VR this year. Like we finally are seeing some results from the wheels spinning for the past few years. Like it's been a slow and frustrating thing because Oculus Rift has just decided to take fucking forever to get to market. And only really got a fire lit under their ass when everybody else started coming out.
They waited so long, Sony already made their knockoff.
No, that was the problem. They did the same shit that DayZ did. Is they just sat on a good idea until everyone else was like, "That's a good idea. If you guys aren't going to do this, I'm going to do this." And they're like, "Oh no, we're doing this. We're doing this." So it's finally getting pushed out, but up until now, it was just rumbles for a few years, and we're finally getting actual news, which is good because the shit comes out next year. So I'm super hyped and I'm super excited. I'm still thrilled about it, and I've heard good things. So they haven't really screwed the pooch yet. It's just a question of, so they've done things and those things have worked. How awesome are those things? Like I would personally rather have a system that works 95% of the time on just about all of my games than works 100% of the time only on its own specific games. Like I want to play Fallout in virtual reality. So if I have to deal with non-optimal settings for that, that's fine. That's the nature of Fallout. It doesn't have the prettiest graphics because it's got the most open world. Everybody makes concessions. So my only fear is that I've seen a lot of specialized software for virtual reality that seems somewhat constrictive. So, but as I've said before, like, we're actually going to see games step backwards into virtual reality and then start progressing again. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because where do we really have to go with video games from here in its current iteration?
I mean, you're talking about the peripherals. If a lot of those studios were, could get the codecs working for the PlayStation 4, that'd be a really good thing for them, especially the guys that are making those floors that can, replicate walking and all kinds of other things that they've made for the Oculus.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll get those. That's just going to be a thing, though. Like, I don't think you're ever going to see a full saturation of the treadmills and the handheld guns. There'll be enthusiasts who like that kind of stuff, but there's always going to be the Tonys of the world who are like, I don't want to move any more than I have to. It's enough that you've already convinced me to put a thing on my head. I'm not doing anything other than moving my thumbs, and that's fine. but that's where we're gonna land, and that's
Brett,
what I'm convinced of.
remember what I told you? Oh, because remember, I was like, okay, I was super skeptical on VR, right? Then I actually played it myself, and I remember when I told you what kind of convinced me that it might work. I didn't have to do shit. Just put a thing on my head and grab a controller, because I thought I was gonna have to be like la 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 la. I'm like, I don't want to do that shit. So I played Adrift, right? I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Then I played it again on a later build. It was cool. And then I played fucking Time Machine. Scared the fuck out of me, which is a good thing, you know. The developers liked my write-up so much they retweeted it like crazy. I was like, guys, I played this game and it scared the fuck out of me, but it was cool. You know?
Yeah, I can't even imagine it. Like, Sony would be foolish not to try and have Kojima do a horror game on the VR system. Like, that would be the system seller right there.
Brett, are you like you're Mr. Segway tonight? I swear to fucking, I love you, man.
I read the show notes.
We should get him a Segway because he is the master of the Segway.
I want one of those hoverboards, the Segways without the handle. Somebody give me one.
If you guys were watching, this episode, where you rewind 2 minutes, you would see my little head down there going, oh shit. Sony just made it official. They put out a video.
Oh,
Kojima is a Sony employee, baby.
Oh, shit.
Aw, snap.
There you go. Short ass video, but there it is. Official fucking news. This is what you would call a megaton.
Yep.
Holy shit. My man Kojima's got a beard too? Ooh.
Yep.
He got a beard. He's working with Sony. He may coming up in the world.
Okay, so
He's got a beard because they let him out of
He's
the
turned into
Konami
big
dungeon.
boss. He's turned into big boss now.
So
yeah,
does he have a hole now and an eye patch?
Yes.
No, he's gonna come out and go, kept you waiting, huh?
So then, is it fair to say that the fire rises?
Yo, yeah, the
Fire
fire.
rises, or we could say the legend has come back.
Okay, by the way, guys, little insider baseball, right? So today for PC Mag, right, I wrote a story for Smash Brothers. I was like, with the hope that I'm going to do a follow-up, right? I'm going to be like, no, we're talking about this today. My mind is blown away. Whew. But anyway, let's get back on topic now. VR. So I'm going to say, and this is obviously a shift from what I said before, I think VR does actually have a future. Like, despite the shit you saw, people were mad at PlayStation Experience. I think there's too many people investing in VR. Like, people like us that are just like, hey, that's cool. Here's my money. We want that shit. They're not forcing it on you like fucking the bullshit fucking move bullshit. It's not like that. But again, Sony. Oh, Brett, I don't know if you read this thing. So basically, somebody was doing numbers, right? And they predicted that VR will actually be more popular on PlayStation. I know that had you worried, but even though you kind of said that it probably will be more popular on PlayStation just because it's PlayStation.
No, it absolutely will be more popular on PlayStation. This is a fledgling technology, right? There are enthusiasts out there who know exactly how to dig into the guts of their PC, who know exactly the kind of build they need, who know exactly how to adjust the settings, and then there's the rest of us fucking retards who don't know what any of this is. We just know that we want it to work, and that's where a proprietary system is really going to come in handy. That's where Sony's going to come in and hold your hand and say, "You've got a PlayStation, right?" We're going to go, "Uh-huh," and they'll be like, "Okay, that's all you need. You don't need to change any settings. You don't need to do any of this stuff. I promise every game that comes out for our system is going to work. Like, everything that comes out on Morpheus is going to work on Morpheus. It's not like, you're going to go buy an Oculus Rift game, come home, and then find out your video card can't handle it fast enough, and it gives you motion sickness, so then you just can't play it. Like, that's the kind of technical limitations that are going to keep people from fully embracing this kind of technology. And it's the reason why I honestly see Sony. Like, they may have a proprietary system. They may have a headset that, for all intents and purposes, is gimped compared to its competitor. But the ease of access and the accessibility of it will help make up for it, and that'll be the kind of saving grace. Like, people will want it to work all the time, and the first time that it doesn't work, or the first time they have a bad experience with it, they may throw up their hands and say, VR is just not a thing for me. It's just too fucking complicated. So you need to be easy when introducing people to this, and you can't push them, and you have to make it an easy and enjoyable experience. And I feel like Sony's streamlining. Like, I was concerned at first that the PlayStation wouldn't have the power to run it, but from everybody else I've talk to, like, yeah, it's got a little bit lower resolution, but it's got great latency. It's a joy to use, and it's the same difference. Like, people like playing PlayStation. Yeah, it doesn't have 60 frames per second. Yeah, it doesn't have as high a resolution, but it works. It works easily, and it works just about every time, and that'll be the selling point. And when adopting a new technology, I cannot stress enough how important that selling point is.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I'm so distracted right now. I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking hyped. Dude, the name of the production company is going to be called Kojima Productions.
Yeah, I just saw that too. I was watching the video.
Shit. Ooh,
Damn.
yeah, but yeah, VR, be on the lookout for it next year. Should be very interesting. So let's move on to how we're going to finish the show up here. Our top 3 games of the year. Now, this is going to be individual, unlike what happened with our coalition ones. Not a vote individual, because I know you guys like it. Will be accountable. If that's what you want. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead, Brian. What are your top 3?
Her Story, Her Story, and Her Story.
Her Story, eh?
Brian and I were trolling people with that shit on Twitter today. Brilliant.
No, honestly, was it top 3 or just favorite 3 or what?
Yeah, your personal favorite 3 games. Doesn't have to be the best. Your personal favorite 3 in order.
Up, down, or down, up?
Let's go with down, up. The number 3, and then go to 1.
Number 3, Dying Light. It was everything that I wanted in a stupid game. It was stupidly stupid on purpose. You can drop kick a zombie.
You need to put that on the box. It's everything I wanted from a stupid game.
It was stupidly stupid.
No, okay, you can drop kick a zombie. It's like, okay, I never want to do that, but now I do want to do that in every single game. I want to drop kick a zombie. I want to drop kick a zombie in the kneecap and watch the knee just break. That stuff is fun. It's stupidly fun. And the whole parkour system, and the fact that, and this is an issue that I have with most games these days, is that most games these days, they don't have a meaningful day-night cycle. Like, in most games, the day-night cycle just doesn't mean shit. It's just different lighting system, that's it. Whereas in Dying Light, when it changed from day to night, it actually meant something. Because at nighttime, the super zombies came out, and they just, they were just after you like crazy. So the game actually changes when you're playing in day and when you're playing in night, and that's what I mean by a meaningful system or a meaningful day-night cycle, and that I love to pieces. And yeah, it just subverted my expectations, because I wasn't expecting it to be great. I expected it to be like okay, and apart from the ending, which was kind of the whole lead up to it was fine. For the most part.
This is one of those games where the story sucks and I don't even care.
Well, I didn't really. I just hey, dropkick zombies into giant spikes. That's brilliant.
I've had talks with people that are like, Dying Light's pretty good, but the story sucks. And everyone's reaction is like, wait, there's a story? I was so preoccupied with decapitating and dropkicking zombies off of buildings that I didn't even notice there was a fucking story.
Yeah, I need to jump in on the whole night system, because that game made you feel genuine fucking terror. When that sound went off, it's like, oh, I better get my ass inside now, because things are not going to be funny in about 3 minutes.
Does it look like it's getting dark to anybody? It feels like it's getting dark to me. I mean, I know it's only 4 o'clock, but it feels like it's getting dark. I think the streetlights are going to turn on soon. I got to get home. My mom's calling.
Dude, you feel your heart sinking when you hear that. Like, oh, shit. And you know what's coming. Those fucking monsters. Remember the first time you see one of those things, you're like, I'm not going to live. I'm dead. It's over.
Do you remember that? Everybody remembers the first time that they're like, I totally have time to make it home. And then they don't.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
And then you end up sprinting, having an anxiety attack through the street. You're like, I'm not stopping. Just grab that wall and go, man. Just run for the love of God, please run.
Leave that shit behind. Just run, bitch.
Oh, my first time was brilliant because I went to collect one of those drops that just appeared, and then I was like, okay, I got in time, and it's like, oh, it's dark now. Let me just turn around and just head back home. It's like, oh, one of the super zombies is there. Okay, I'll go the other way. Oh, 2 of his friends are there. I think I'll stay here for a while, and then of course like the other ones just are like just crawling around and like, ah shit, I have to move. And accidentally I startled one by like dropkicking another zombie off a roof, and wow, that was the most intense 25 seconds of my life. I literally had to like run back to like the main base because I didn't know where any of the other like bases were. I'm like, shit, run, just don't stop running, just jump, drop kick, do anything. And that look back button, that is the worst best button in history. Because whoever put that there is genius and is a sadist. Because, oh my gosh. Because at first I was like,
No
okay,
point to that button.
like, I know I can look around and look behind me, but do I want to? I was like, no, it's a dumb idea. But then I pressed it once. Wow. I pressed it once and that's it. I never touched it again. I'm like, mm-mm.
By the way, I need to say this too because I was not enjoying the game very much when I was playing it. I thought it was just clunky as shit. Then I played with Brett, right? And Brett was like, "Hey, Tony, here's a flaming sword. Have fun." And I loved the game after that. Like, this is great, man. I get to just slice these motherfuckers up and just, dude. Okay, there's nothing more beautiful, and I'm talking about beauty here, of decapitating 6 zombies in one swipe. It brings a tear to my eye, man. and the limbs are on fire too. Come on, man. That's great. You know, that is fun.
That game was everything that Dead Island should have been.
Yes, made by the same people too, which is interesting. I guess they've learned. Anyway, number 2, Brian.
Number 2, just finished the review today. It's on the website now. Just Cause 3. Oh my gosh, that game is brilliant.
Explosions.
It's not brilliant,
game.
It's good. Yeah, it is Explosions, the video game. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted from a sequel. It's refined, fine-tuned, and expanded upon. It's just everything blows up and it looks so beautiful when it just blows up. It's just like even today, after I'd done the review, I decided, okay, let me try something different. So I found out that you actually like stunt jump on top of like cars and stuff. So this is when like you get out and stand on top of the vehicle as the vehicle is moving.
Yeah.
So I decided to play around with this, and I got the. This is funny. I got the shotgun that shoots out grenades. So here I was in a jet flying over a base shooting shotgun grenades. And I was like, what is going on in this game? Seriously, this is brilliant. So yeah, so it's like I'd fly over the base and then like just before I get like in like the airspace, I'd like stunt jump and stand on top of it and then just launch rockets and then just get back in the jet, do a U-turn and do the same thing again. Why?
Just Cause. Brilliant. Man, I need to play this game again, man. Too much fun. Dude, because the thing is, I'm playing this game like a jackass, right? I'm just shooting shit. Then what you described on the last episode is like, yo, those 2 helicopters after me, so I tethered them to each other. It's like, what? You can do that?
Yeah. They should call it like just Cause 3. Yes, you can do that.
Yes. All right. Number 1 game for Mr. Manjoma.
I think it's no surprise. I've like ranted. I haven't really like ranted and raved about this one, and it would have been Elite Dangerous, but that came out last year, so technically I can't say it. But Witcher 3, and Brett will be quite mad, but I don't care. He likes Star Wars Battlefront, so his opinion is.
Hey now.
Oh shit!
You didn't have to start slinging mud here.
It's the throwdown, man. This is what we do.
Hey, it's what we do. Yeah, that game is phenomenal. Like, CD Projekt Red did a fantastic job. Like the scale and scope and ambition of that title is beyond like most AAA games out there. Like, it puts lots of games to shame, which is so annoying because it's like if Witcher 3 can do like this much with this little, then why can't other games do so much more because they have so much more behind them? And that frustrates me. But again, The Witcher 3, mostly everything about it is just brilliant. The dialogues, the story, the voice acting, even just like the random stuff, like the armors and all sorts. It felt like I was actually playing a role for a change instead of playing a game. Because like in that game, you actually take on the role of a Witcher, which is to kill any animal or kill any monsters which aren't civilized. So that's what you actually do. Like, you actually walk around towns, you get like notice boards and say, okay, these guys want me to kill this griffin. Let me go down, try and find it, locate it, trap it, kill it, and then bring back the head as proof. It's actually felt like I was in his shoes. And even some of the dialogue options, which in some games they have a dialogue system tree thing, but the dialogue doesn't actually make much sense and has no consequences, aka Fallout 4. But in this one, it actually does have a consequence, and actually, like, what you say affects the story. Like, there's one time, one of the quests was this guy wanted me to find his wife because she had gone out and she's not been back like the night before, and she's gone in the woods, and the woods are quite dangerous. So I went out, did my usual like CSI stuff, followed the blood, followed the smell, and then, spoiler alert, I found her body. She was dead. She was killed by something. Lots of sharpness, claws, blood everywhere. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she was killed by a creature. So it's my job to kill the creature, right? And then of course the girl's sister came up to me, and mind you that girl's sister is now living in the same house as the husband, because they all lived in one big house, family stuff, So she was there, and she was like, "Oh, I'll pay you this amount of money just to say to the guy, like, okay, your wife died. It's a shame, move on." But I was like, I could do that, or I could just find out this creature and then just kill it, because it's my job. And I'm not going to say what happens when you choose either or, but if ever you come across that quest on Witcher 3, do not pick the money option then and there, because the end result of what happens after is insane, and that quest will forever stick with me because it's brilliant. And also, do not let the demon out of the tree. Do not do that. It's not a smart idea. Trust me.
Oh man! All right, who wants to go next? Or I'm gonna have to call on someone like school.
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
For my third choice, I have to say Bloodborne.
Nice.
Bloodborne was just fantastic, and I mean,
Man, did it give you that? Did it give you that feel that you were craving? Because I know you got excited when you were like, "Wait, this is gonna be like Demon Souls."
Yeah, man, and it was like, it moves fast. Like, that's the one thing that I miss in Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls 2, was kind of clunky. Is like Demon Souls, you move fast, when you use certain weapons and the speed changes and whatever, like, you really feel it. And in Bloodborne, it's the same thing. And the trick weapon thing was pretty cool. The system was cool. That the environments were amazing, and they looked amazing on PlayStation, man. Like, that shit looked. That's just where I think both of us were thinking. Like, Tony, you said it. It's like, dude, this is Castlevania. This is what Castlevania should be like. It was amazing, and the whole theme of the thing and the lore that they created or whatever. Oh man, it was awesome, and I was very pleased with Bloodborne, and I like the the networking system, which they broke in Dark Souls 2, was fixed. They had the password so you could meet up with your buddies. There was no soul memory level. It didn't matter. You could meet up with anyone. You just match your passwords. No stupid ring bullshit. So it was great. So that for me is number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna say is right now is Fallout 4. Like, Fallout 4. Freaking, I'm loving it. It absorbed me. It like threw me right in the wasteland, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, there's some janky, broken stuff to be sure. Like, I've walked around. Like you tweeted out the pictures that cow has appeared in my bedroom. It appears on my roof. I've had Mama Murphy float through the ceiling. I've seen guys standing sideways on nothing, like in midair. Like, but the game is so fun, and there's so much stuff happening all the time. It's just amazing. Like, just discovering shit and the fights, and I'm actually enjoying the crafting. Like, I don't know, I got inspired after I saw Brett's place. Brett built Fort Cheers, and it's freaking amazing. And I got inspired to like try to build some stuff too in there. I don't have quite an epic fort like that, but I'm still working on it. But like, I love the weapon crafting and stuff. It's at the level where it's not too intricate, but it's not like dumbed down. It's not too dumbed down either. Some of the dialogue is dumbed down, to be sure. Like, the old Fallouts used to have tons of dialogue choices, and this one is you kind of have 4 choices that really don't matter. But overall, I'm loving the game, and I'm just fairly impressed. It's way more colorful than Fallout 3. The environments are way differentiated, and I love the fact that you know between the power armor and the hazmat suits, you could go to areas you could never go in Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, if you went into any super radioactive area, you would die in 2 seconds, right? And now you can kind of explore these crazy areas like the glowing sea.
Dude,
Holy
the
shit!
glowing sea, man.
Yes, and no spoil. You just go there, get a hazmat suit. If you have power armor, go to this place in the southwest corner of the map and check it out for yourself. That is a wasteland. The area you in is like a garden compared to this place. Like, that is the real wasteland, is a glowing sea. That is the real definition of a nuclear fucking blown up wasteland. It's crazy. So yeah, so that definitely for me. And surprising too, because I was kind of down on it, but like I've been loving Fallout 4. I'm still playing it. So now it comes to my number 1 choice and stuff. But for me, my game of the year is Metal Gear Solid 5. And I freaking even though I have said, like, imagine if Konami had let Kojima do what he wanted to do, this would have been game of the fucking decade maybe. But what we got was still really freaking good. Like, I love the environments, I love the look of it. I like the story. I thought it was cool. Like, and I won't spoil anything for anyone, but I did enjoy that Man Who Sold the World story. I liked it, and all the stuff you could do, the customizations, the base stuff, I thought was really cool. And I love the game. Like, I could go back and play it right now and keep enjoying it. Like, it was I thought it was fantastic. And with all the stuff I played, like, I still plan to go back to Witcher 3. I still like that, and like, I like Dying Light also. Like Brian said, like, drop kicking zombies was very satisfying. But like, to me, like, this was just past sublime, and like, just beautiful was Metal Gear for me, man.
Awesome.
Touched my soul.
I'm gonna go next because every single game. Go ahead.
I'm not going. Okay, you go.
No, I need to jump in now because Chris and I's list is exactly the same. There's no difference. I almost picked number 3 to be Batman, right? Because I'm like, I get to be an armored ass Batman, beating the fuck out of dudes. I got this badass Batmobile that no one can get in front of. This is great. But just really thinking about it, yeah, number 3 has to go to Bloodborne. There's a couple reasons. One, when it really clicked that this is essentially Castlevania, this is the shit I wanted for 15 years. I'm like, okay, this is fucking amazing. And on top of that, this game brought me back to the old school. Remember when you used to play games back in the day? You didn't know if you were going to win. And when you got against a really tough boss, you felt your fucking heart boom, 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 boom. Games don't do that anymore. Games are relatively easy. Even if you bump them up to, like, super difficulty, it's not that hard. This shit. And I don't even think there's like a difficulty scale. It's just brutal, So you really got to think tactically about shit. It's very interesting. It's like a live action game, but you have to think tactically, And I love the whole world about it because I know you say you like the story. Brett loved it too. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, I couldn't make heads or tails of the story, but I love the world and I love that this was the only game that I could think of that. Like, the whole horror thing was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. And I mean, really like H.P. Lovecraft. I'm playing this shit. I'm thinking about Mountains of Madness. I'm like, yo, I think I'm losing my sanity, like, in the real world and in the game. It's just insane, You're dealing with these gods that are like, they don't even acknowledge you. You're just beneath them. You're a fucking worm. I love that shit. And yeah, because most games, fantasy games, what are they based on? They're based on medieval shit, right? This is like, okay, we're going to do like a gothic 1800s type of shit, right? And on top of that, the psychological cosmic horror, fucking brilliant. So got to be my number 3 there.
Tony, you have to mention one thing. On our chats when we play games together, I don't think I've ever heard more. What the fuck is that? Yo, what the fuck is that? Like,
what is that? because we played the game a lot. With the exception of Brian, because Brian didn't have a PS4 back then, but we would all play together and it was, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And this is even like on like a second or third playthrough. It's like, what the fuck is that? Crazy shit, man. You never knew what was going to happen in that game. It was brilliant in that regard. All right, number 2, the Fallout. Very surprising because I was very kind of down about this game because of Fallout 3, jankiest fucking game I ever played in my life. It would crash every single like minute or so. The game looked fucking ugly as shit. You know, there was a really good game under it, but all those things kind of messed it up for me. Fallout 4, none of that. The game's never crashed. I think it crashed once after like 120 hours. Okay, whatever. You know, I can let that slide. The game actually has, like, Chris, you said that it has, like, you know, nice colors. It has color. It has color in it. Period. Like when you first get out of the vault, it's like, oh, look at that. There's shimmering rays of light. There's, like, you know, even the fucked up looking grass looks like that. It just looked really nice. Like, obviously it doesn't look as nice as other games, but compared to Fallout 3, it looked really good. And like you said, man, it's just fun. Just, you know, getting grabbing a gun, getting your dog, and just exploring the wasteland, seeing what happened. And I love how this game, I don't know if it happens to you guys that much, but to me, this game turns into an action movie at the drop of a dime. Like, 1 minute I could just be relaxing, just walking around. All of a sudden, there's 5 super mutants. 2 of them have suicide bombers, and there's cars all around. I think you know where this is going. You know, nuclear explosions everywhere, bodies flying. Shit is crazy, man. There was points where shit blow up in the foreground, and a body would just fly by me. You know, crazy shit. You know, and obviously, I love the whole the world of it. You know, it's like this crazy retro futurist of 1950s. They really play all that shit up. I love the crazy ass songs, the fucking DJ, you know, his little story arc. Great stuff, man. You know, I'm still playing the game. I'm trying to get that platinum. Only got 3 more trophies to go, man. So yeah, Fallout 4 definitely, and then number 1, of course. Was there any doubt? Metal Gear. This is the best Metal Gear. Let's just be honest, the best Metal Gear out there as far as gameplay goes. Everything that the series has been leading up to is fulfilled in this title. This is a true stealth game. I remember the last game I played before this was Splinter Cell Blacklist. When I played, I'm like, yo, Metal Gear needs to live up to this shit, because that was the best stealth game I ever played. Then Metal Gear just destroyed it. There's just so much freedom that you have to complete a mission, and the stuff they give you, it's just unparalleled. And it's interesting because I remember, and you guys quote me on this, I said this is not going to be an open world game. It's going to be a big game. No, it's open world like crazy. 2 huge maps. I played missions over and over again. I've never done them the same way twice. There's always something in there to find, you know, even though the land is like barren and stuff. And then, you know, I said this on Twitter. This is one of the few games, and even Fallout has this too. They keep the whole notion of the Cold War in people's consciousness, you know, like people have forgotten about it because, you know, we're not at war with Russia anymore. But, you know, that was a big thing, and obviously, you know, they keep those themes going and stuff. And I like how every Metal Gear game explores a different aspect of the Cold War and nuclear deterrence and nuclear disarmament, all that stuff. This game does a really good job of that, and it got me reading about the fucking war in Zimbabwe and shit. I didn't know about any of that stuff, you know. Really good stuff. So yeah, Metal Gear, like, you know, like Chris said, it would have been really nice if Kojima got to fulfill his real vision for it. If he would have fulfilled his actual vision for this game, this would have been easily the game of the fucking generation. No question about it. But even with its faults, it still destroys every other game out there. So that definitely gets my number 1. So that is it. So, and Manny, since you wanted to go, I shall go to you next.
Well, my number 3 is Batman.
Yes.
So yeah, awesome game. One of those. It just took me forever to play. In fact, it took me so long to play it. It kind of bleeded into the Bloodborne time. So, but yeah, just a great game. It was essentially a really great send out for the series. You know, just kind of pulled everything together, and a great ending, and just the open world that they created. Really great city. I mean, they did an amazing job with it. It's a shame to see them to see Rocksteady not do another, is not going to be doing another Batman game, but that also just makes me really even more excited to see what they do next.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need to jump in real quick because I know you didn't care for it too much. I absolutely loved the ending of that game. What'd you say?
I just not that I didn't hate the ending or anything like that, but it's the kind of expected ending from when there's a finale of the character. I mean, even Nolan did essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it kept going. You know, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but to me, I like seeing Gotham's reaction to you. You've never seen that before. It's like there's a crucial aspect. You understand why Batman it does things the way he does. I can't say it, but it's like that's cool. It's a very interesting character study. Even the way you think about yourself as Batman changes when you hear the way everybody else reacts afterwards. Like I've never seen that in a comic book before. This is really cool. You know?
Yeah.
All right. So what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Hunter. It's Bloodborne, man.
Nice.
So, yeah, another really great thing. I knew from the start, like I know a bunch of people were really, like, oh, what's this? But as soon as I saw that, like, kind of, what do you call it? It's not medieval, like the kind of
Victorian
era type of thing. Yeah, I was sold. So. Yeah, that was my second. Just the creatures and all that stuff. Amazing, awesome game. I mean, I've never planned to play like a Souls game before like that, but I mean, I just knew that it was something that I would really enjoy, and just the monster design and all that stuff was really great.
And I wonder what your number 1 is. I'm like, what could possibly be?
Kept you waiting, huh? Of course, it's got to be Metal Gear Solid 5, a game that I've continued to play to this date. I am still playing the goddamn game even now. So, yeah.
All right, very pithy. Brett, top 3 games, 2015. Go.
In order of 3 to 1 or 1 to 3? I'm confused about how you people are doing this.
Damn it, you're like the commenters, man. 3 to 1. Yeah.
Well, you're like third game. Anyway, okay. 3 would be Dying Light for many of the reasons brought up. I felt like it made an awesome world to play in that was satisfying to play in, and the night mechanic was pretty cool. I've never actually had that kind of situational anxiety that wasn't necessarily scripted. In every other video game, it's like, oh no, they've dropped in a room with 30 guys who are all shooting at you, and this person is being drugged out the other side, even though you have as long as you need to exactly by the time you get out of this room being shot with guys, you're just going to be happening to catch up with this person. Like, none of this was scripted, so I'd be like, oh my god, I just found the world's sweetest sword, and now I need to get back home before it gets dark, and there's super zombies trying to nip at my heels, and if I die, there's a very good chance that I'm not going to get the sword back next time I respawn. It made for a cool and immersive experience, so that would be number 3. And then 2 and 1, because I can't choose between them, would obviously be Bloodborne and Fallout. They scratch different itches, but they scratch it so good. If I had my perfect way, I would always have a game like Fallout and always have a game like Bloodborne. So I could have an immersive game where I can go and develop my own story and just go wherever and do whatever, and then I have a game where when I want to actually test myself or push the limits or something like that, I can just go apeshit on a giant Taurus demon. So I can't tell you which of those I actually like better.
Really? Oh man.
For completely different reasons.
So are you just going to jumble them all together, I guess?
Oh, no. Dying Light is number 3.
Okay.
Fallout and Bloodborne tied for 1 and 2.
Very interesting. All right, I guess that is pretty much it for our picks. Again, our picks. Oh, man. I wonder if we could determine a winner from all that, actually, like a consensus. I don't know. I don't think we can, actually. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to do that. Too lazy for it. Anyway, so...
Oh, yeah, there's a winner.
There is, Brian? Have you done a tally?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Her story.
Yes, the troll. Oh man, yeah, it's obviously her story, right? The greatest game ever, bringing back FMV.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about like enjoyability, if we're talking about like what the most important game of the year is, it was clearly Depression Quest, right?
That was last year, but still.
Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last year.
I'm pretty sure it was last year.
It was last year.
Oh, I missed my opportunity. How will people ever know now?
All right. So yeah, people, this is the Manny, what other words do I use besides last and final? Okay.
Year end.
We're gonna take this is the year end episode of Throwdown. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back.
We will be back.
We will be back. We're gonna take a 2-week vacation. So
yeah.
I just want to go ahead, Manny.
To absorb the fucking shockwaves that just happened while we're on the fucking show.
Man, how you gonna say that shit, Sony? Don't you know we recording Throwdown on a Tuesday, even though we don't never record on a Tuesday?
Hey, listen, we got that news as it was happening. They even got a fucking new logo now.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the new website?
The new website, it's all up. It's
So,
not.
yeah.
It doesn't have much, of course, but dude, it's.
I like that parallaxing though. That's a pretty cool effect they put on there.
Man, by the way, people, we apologize for talking about old shit to you because you're in the future. So yeah, I want to tell you guys a little bit of what to expect from Throwdown from now on. You know, I've been thinking a lot about Throwdown, and you know, think about the past year, what has worked, what hasn't worked. No one, by the way, very interesting. We omitted something after E3, and no one said anything, which lets me know you guys just want us to talk about video games. We actually took pop culture out of the equation just to see what you guys would say. No one said shit. No one said shit. No one said anything. You know. So yeah. If something huge happens, we're gonna talk about it. But this is from now on. This is a video game podcast. That's what you guys like. So we're gonna give you more of that, and it also helps my other goal. Keep these things relatively short, not short like an hour, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We're obviously going to give you a mega show because you guys really love those. But remember, it's always a balance. We got to give the old guys enough, right, to keep them happy, and then the new guys. So we're not going to be like, yo, 3 hours, I'm not listening to this shit. You know, it's a nice balance there. But other than that, we're not really changing anything. You know, the only goal is I want to make the show live up to its moniker a little bit, and we're going to figure out how to do that. Actual Throwdown, if you know what I mean. Last week was a good indicator of that. But other than that, we're still going to be kicking ass. And we still got to throw down your questions, people. So look forward to that on Sunday. That show's not changing at all. Same shit. No difference. Except we only ask you to offload any pop culture stuff to that. That's where we're going to talk about that shit. You know? So you're still going to get it. It's just in a different format. But that show, essentially, nothing's changing. It's the same shit. Not even a time restriction on that. It goes on as long as it needs to go on. I don't think there's much more to say. Thank you for all the great success we've had because of you guys this year. This has easily been the biggest fucking year we had on this show. And it's all thanks to you guys, you know, spreading the word, commenting, talking shit. We love all of it, you know? So thank you for that. Do you guys have anything you want to say to the fans? Manny, I'm looking at you.
Me?
Yes, since everybody else is quiet. Nobody wants to say to you guys.
I'm going to say,
fans, man.
Listen, guys, it's been a long journey for Throwdown. We've been, you know, doing this thing for thick and thin. You know, we Tony left and he came back, all that stuff, and we're really grateful for you guys to come on, you know, to continue to listen to us wherever we go, and.
Listen and watch us, man. Our faces.
Yes, listening to us, and watching us, you know, on YouTube. It's been a great, you know, it's been awesome, and I hope that the next year is even more awesome.
And it damn well will be. It'll be great.
We'll be kicking your ass. Hopefully.
Brian, you gonna say something?
Not much to say, but it's been tiring. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, like waking up 3 a.m. to these shows, like week in, week out, apart from those like 2 months I took off, is tiring, but it's worth it. Reading the comments and just having a great conversation with great people is definitely worth it. So yeah, that's what I'd say. And her story is good. Yeah. I will not stop that because come on,
Okay. I
I
need to say this.
Don't get the joke.
Yeah.
It's actually again, it was to do with the Game of the Year nominations on our site. People got like really pissy, so that I thought, okay, it seems like no matter what we would have picked, people would have gotten like really pissy. So let's just go like the whole like 9 yards and vote or make Her Story win for every category. And I mean every category.
Every category.
So best RPG, best racing game, best handheld game, everything. Just Her Story. Just to see the like reactions on the fans' faces, because it'll just be brilliant. They'll just their heads will just explode.
And by the way, Brian, I hate to say this, you are the real MVP of Throwdown, man. You stay up fucking late, man. You sacrifice sleep to do this crazy show. You know, you're the real MVP. Like the meme. Chris, any final thoughts of the fans?
I'm really looking forward to next year because all the bombs dropped. that's when they come to us, right? And I'm gonna love checking that shit out and talking about it. So yeah, 2016, man.
Yes. All right, Brett closes off, man. Get on that soapbox.
Nope.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's up? I cut out for a second.
I said finish it off, man. What do you have to say to the fans?
Oh, it's just you've been an incredible, rowdy, angry, disrespectful group of people, and as a staunch Irishman, I could not be more proud.
Yes.
I'll see y'all next year.
Yes, man. Perfect ending. All right, people. So thank you for watching and listening. And make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Make sure to check out the Patreon as well, people. Support us. Subscribe to Throwdown, SoundCloud, iTunes, and the YouTubes. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I was yours, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Let the legend come back.
Brian Majoma.
Yep, Her Story is my game of the year.
Chris Seeley.
It's been a fantastic year, guys. Keep listening and watching next year, man. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah, hot fire. And Brett Murdoch.
Catch you next year, you beautiful bastards.
All right, people. Later.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Deuces.